So super good day for Alphabet, but I wish I was still in it. I'll be buying the dip into 193, which happens to be the volume weighted average price. We'll be back at 2 o'clock, but you got, oh boy, Obi.
Oh boy.
And the professor. Go get him, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't.
We didn't do what's for lunch. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll see what it is.
Let the boys do it.
I don't recall seeing the menu.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy,
That's
Obi.
Me.
He is the one. He is the one, guys. Kenobi. And I'm Sharif. And where are all the people at, baby? There we go. Let's shut them out. We got the OG Darwin, Cisco, Zolo. We got Juan Padilla and Pranat. Sure. Mike Hamilton, Trader Wannabe, Richard Nickel. Richard Nickel? Isn't that the dude in The Fugitive? Come on now. AT. Say it again? Richard Kimball. My good call, Neil. Good call. Sid Gudiori. Charles Moe, Brown Lightning, Sir David of Smooshala. Shout out to Gen AI Apps, Marius Colossus, Trader Forever, Mike PD Rider. We got Shadow S7, 7S7. We got Grey Worm. Maybe wink, okay. Kelvin Brooks, Zach Cordado, grateful for Bitcoin. Shout out to Alexander Emard, Mike, the Stock Impaler, Arnold Clark. We got James Dell, baby. Angel Fonesca, probably butchered that. Kelvin Brooks, Alvaro, Mario Sosa, Stuart, RTJ, Ed Miller. Unconquered 82. I like that number. Obviously, I have an affinity for 82, having been born in said year. So I seem to have an affinity for everything related to me, which is kind of... Okay, I'll let you guys figure that one out. But yeah, that's the situation right now. I'm involved in 2 small cap gappers. Let's start with the first one, SGD. What a hold off the volume weighted average price. We're in at 41s, I believe, and then we've scalped up basically into 49. This one is having trouble with 50, so be on the lookout for that. I'm also involved in this one. What's it called? Where is it at over here? There we go. Finally, we get the ad on STAI. I'm looking for this one to hold the volume weighted average price. I added at 27s because I saw the double bottom at 25s. So it's going to have to hold up that VWAP. I've got an order actually at the volume weighted average price, which I probably should move up if I'm looking to run into that level. So let's put some orders now that we've got the ad over here. We'll throw some at the third of $1, and then we'll layer a little bit above that. So we'll keep an eye on STAI, but if STAI loses VWAP, that it will be the end of the trade. I will not be dollar cost averaging into an oblivion into this one below VWAP. So that will be my look there. And then I'm still also holding SGD. So Ob's getting set up. He's having some issues with his computer. He'll be on momentarily. So we'll talk about these small cap gappers until my man Ob is ready. Shout out to everybody in the chat, keeping an eye on these small cap gappers. It feels like a light bunch today, but there are some running. I'm talking about FMST. That one is breaking out into that $3 area, as well as Repel. So I've mentioned STAI to you guys, as well as what's it called, SGD, but I really wanted to focus as well on these ones. REPL looks like it wants to take out 4. It's got good volume under its belt. Each of these 5-minute candles almost has 1 million shares each, so that's plenty of volume there. FMST, not the same look, okay? It doesn't have the same type of volume profile, but it's got good strength in the price action, and it's also been quite respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, of which I base a lot of my trades. So that's what I'll be keeping my eye on right now. There were others, as you saw there, NEGG, NEG, having a good day as well. It had a good day yesterday, but NEG is too expensive and very spready, so likely will not be touching that. Shout out to VCIG as well, holding VWAP, trying to take out that we're trying to hold that pre-market area consolidation. We'll see if it ends up making another move to the high side. Then MC VT. This one, I was really grasping at straws when I picked this one, but we'll keep an eye on it. If it can take out 7.25, we'll be involved, but otherwise we'll be focusing on these ones. So STAI is going to have to decide whether it wants to hold this $0.25 area where it has a double bottom prior, or whether it wants to make a deeper retracement in a VWAP. We got 32s on at the moment. It's showing me 27s, 28s now on the level 2. I'm not going to wet the beak until about the third of $1. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on there. And then SGD, we're having trouble with the $0.5. Let's see if this holds the area. Oh, let me know when you're.
Yeah, I mean, the P Pro's having P8. I think it was just connection issues, but yeah, what's going on, guys? I can still see the chat. I still have some of my charts that are working, but yeah, absolutely crazy morning for me, Sharif.
Absolutely.
I was fighting the trend a little bit on AMD. Funny enough, I get off of my desk, and that's when the reversion comes in. GG's on that one, reverting right back to VWAP right here. I think I tried a little bit here, kept it tight, stopped out, and then you can see how strong AMD was. Another day where we gap up and continue. So gap up day 2 on this one. Take a look at this on the daily chart. And you'll see, again, you were talking about how aggressively strong AMD has been, a little bit of a laggard when it comes to chips pushing for their all-time highs. Now, we know that NVIDIA has been printing a fresh high almost every day. AMD is kind of on its way to catch up right now, but you can see back-to-back gap-up days right now. You can see 1, 2, I guess today's 2, where you cleanly gap up above prior day's price. As of right now, high day is at 182. But yeah, trying a little bit to not get that FOMO, as the short off of, I guess, 181s, 182s was quite nice. But like I said before, I tried it a couple times here. We can go to the 1 minute chart to give it a better perspective. I tried it once here. I tried it once here. Caught a little piece, but yeah, didn't really try again for the third time. And that's when we get that reversion all the way back to the mean, which is a VWAP coming in at 179.22. So, oh boy, what a crazy strong stock today. It actually pushed over 1 ATR off of the open, and I was like, all right, well, this is my definition of a little overextended, so I'm going to look for reasons to sell. The long, of course, was one of the main trades, as it did the same thing as yesterday, breaking out of pre-market highs. Look at that yesterday as well, breaking out of pre-market highs, strong continuation, holding VWAP, holding structures with some of these lows back to back, and you can see more of the same right off of the open. But yeah, I was looking for a breather, and oh boy, did we breathe all the way back down to VWAP. We'll be right back. What's up, Adara?
So to let you guys know, but ETOR, the market not seeming to care too much, but keep an eye on eToro Group. Apparently, the company is set to launch tokenized U.S. stocks on the Ethereum blockchain, very similar to what we know Robinhood is doing as well. These tokenized stocks looks like, again, eToro doing the same thing. They're going to be launched on the Ethereum blockchain. Back to you.
All right, Obed, just got to cover this because it's breaking out and it's time sensitive. HWH is absolutely flying. Shout out again. Once again, to my other pair of eyes, Bhavin Patel in the chat, keep your eyes out on his calls. HWH, 60% at the day high, 237 day high right now. It's a trade de novo, meaning the volume just started coming in. The largest volume bar is now, this candle. The previous volume bar, had about 1 million shares, but this one's got over 3 million right now. So a lot of volume seeing this, or a lot of eyes seeing this, and as a result, a lot of volume coming in, but it is extended here, well away from the 10, well away from VWAP. It's clearing that $2 level like it doesn't even matter. I mean, it blew past 2.25. It's obviously cleared 2/3 at 237. Here we go again, attempting that high day break, and there it is. Oh, we break the high of the day into 240 we go. So keep your eye out on HWH. I'm just flipping to my 5-second chart here so I can kind of get a better look. So it does seem to be finding some support here with higher highs and higher lows. Generally on the 5-second chart, anyway, on the 20 exponential. Now I know that, you know, whenever algo's trading this is likely not basing anything on the 5-second chart. The reason I use it is I'm looking for areas of support and resistance as well as when the micro pullbacks manifest. So it's a 244 high right now. Great strength right now in HWH. Be careful trading this, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, be careful trading some of those. When stuff gets parabolic, you really have to watch out for some of those extensions, because you know when players start getting squeezed.
Oh yeah.
AMD had a little bit of a squeeze. Honestly, like I was telling Sharif, this thing was moving like a small cap at times. You can see how it wicked this 180 multiple times. Aggressive bids, aggressive sells back to back. But overall, you can see that the trend has held in the morning session pretty well. So something I like to do, or I should be doing, is taking a step back when that price action gets so aggressive and maybe throwing on a moving average on a higher time frame, maybe looking at structure, we were holding higher highs and higher lows as well. And we got that extension. Like, look at this little flag. I know you like the flags. Look at this build up, flat top break roughly here, and it starts to grind trend all the way up to 182s. Now holding VWAP as of right now. Some of the other names that I was looking for today were earnings names, and SoFi, absolute madness off of the open as it just teleported 30, 40, 50 pennies at a time, just straight up to 25, and a bit of a false break of the $25 level. Since then, we've basically been chopping around and reverted all the way back down to VWAP. Has not done anything aggressive since that opening drive push. So yeah, SoFi, maybe one to continue watching, but the move was definitely in the morning. Novo Nordisk, I don't know if you've seen this one, Sharif,
I did.
but yeah, losing a little bit of fat on the way down. You know what I mean? It's dropping a couple pounds because apparently those GLPs are not selling as much anymore. So I don't know. Holding VWAP as of right now, so sellers definitely in charge. 69.18 was that, or 69s was that reference price before the news came out, and then we got a strong quadunk all the way down to $50 with a low of 49.38 since then. A little bit of a recovery, nice little reversion to VWAP after an overextension to the downside, but that came in the pre-market. I like the hold of VWAP as of right now, but still kind of sideways. VWAP was in and around 55 earlier, currently at 54.90. We're trading 54, so nothing too crazy as well. I think there was another one, Celestica. Celestica was pushing all-time highs, if I remember correctly, and oh boy, what a trend on this one, holding structures, higher highs and higher lows on Celestica. If you've seen this on the weekly, Sharif, absolute strength on this one.
Crazy.
Look at this right here. Over the years,
goodness.
this is one of those stocks that stocks only go up. This is a perfect example of one of those. Celestica coming in pretty strong to the upside on the day today. So let me know what you guys are trading. Did you guys trade any earnings names today? I know we're in the midst of earnings season and things are going absolutely crazy. Some of these earnings names, mid to large caps going crazy, small caps as well. It is market season.
It is, Ob, and it's a storm of prints right now on HWH, guys. We're in literally at the bottom of this candle here at 223. 224. I've scalped up all the way up into 245. The high of the day is 245 on the dot. Now I'm posting up at 49, 54s, and then in the high 50s. And here we go again. Here comes 45. There it goes. We take out 45. We can't take out the $0.50. The selling is too aggressive. So look out for the $0.50 break now and a squeeze above said $0.50. 48 showing up again as a clear area of resistance. So we can't shake the whole dollar seller, the $0.50 seller at the moment. HWH on that good stuff, guys. Be on the lookout here for the squeeze. And there it is. Oh, we take out the $0.50. It is 53s. I still went unprinted. I'm waiting at 54s. There it is. Oh, we take that one out. Here comes 59 again on HWH. Not again, sorry. Here comes again, but the new level. And there it goes. Oh, we take it out again. All right, now we're setting up at 64. How many shares do I have left? No, I don't want to take it. I don't want to take out 64. Let this one run. All right, so let's see what we can get here with HWH. Also doing it freaking live on the, where is it? Show yourself. SGD as well. Where are we in? We're in at 41s. We scalped up all the way up into 59. It is coming back down into the 10 exponential moving average. Let's see if this is an ad spot. Now, SGD did initially have support at VWAP. Now, do we get a 10 EMA support now that we're substantially farther from VWAP? I don't want to add here if I'm not right in adding. So I'm a little concerned with how to play this. So I'm just thinking out loud right now. So SGD coming into the 10 EMA. I'm going to let this one cook for a little bit. I can decide after. All right, let's go back over here. There it goes again. HWH into 69. I'm just going to post at 69. We get it at 69. Fantastic. We don't. That's fine. And here's 67s. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see if we can get it a little bit higher over here. Not quite yet on HWH. Shout out to Bovin, man. Bovin, I didn't have eyes on this one. Thanks for calling it out. So we'll keep an eye here on HWH. It's a 67-penny high at the moment, but turning back a little bit. Let me go back now to my SGD trade as it's coming back into the volume weighted average price. We're actually, I have a resting order. So we're out of the money right now by about a penny or two on the remaining amount on SGD. I'm going to leave this order active. We have higher lows. So that's what keeps me optimistic that HGD maintains its level. Last, my resting order here was at 34s, and that's an old level. Well, actually, it's not old. VWAP is 32, so this is not entirely wrong right here, but it didn't make its way down. So we don't get the add. We don't get that. Now I can add now. I'm going to add, Ope. I'm going to add. I mean, if I don't add here, then what am I doing, right? So we're adding there. And come what may, if I end up losing money on it, I end up losing money on it. But I'm going to add, if I saw what I saw. So let's go ahead and put some profit takers. Now we have the same cost basis because we added at literally the same spot. So we'll go ahead and wait at 45s, and then we'll layer as well into some higher 40s there. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on right now, SGD. Let's go back again, though, to my other friend here, HWH. Here we go again with 60. Now there's a seller at the 10-penny level at 60. Can't shake them. Let me just have a look at the 5-second chart. We're putting back, we're putting in lower highs. And we have been since basically almost 11.16. 11.16 kind of was a turning point, and now we're putting aggressively lower highs on HWH. We just lost trend a little bit. I'm looking at the 5. So let's be on the lookout for that. Let's see if it ends up holding trend or what its situation is. We'll let Obe set up on his system, and we'll keep going over here. I see Repel above it. I've had Repel on basically since we started the show. REPL, it's up 23 1/3%. It's a few pennies off the day's high, 397. It feels like a 4-seller. It lost the 10 EMA here very briefly, and then ended up closing above it. So it did wick into 370, held VWAP, and then rocketing back up here into the mid-90s, mid-90s. On REPL. So this one propelling to the high side here. So we'll keep tabs on that. Let's move back into SGG to see if this add was the right thing to do. So far, it's holding the 10, but it's not rocketing up with the same vigor that it had before. So yeah, we'll keep tabs on this one, and we'll see what we get there. Yes, all right. Just tag me in the chat, guys, if you're looking at anything specific to the small cap gappers. If it's not small cap gapper related, I'm just not interested, and you're going to have to ask Obi when he's ready. So I do apologize about that, but I won't be looking at any non-small cap gappers. Here we go. Back to HWH here. Still having trouble with the low 60s, low mid 60s, but we shook that 60 seller at least for the moment. Now showing me 62s, 63, 64, 66. Here we go, 67. We can't shake that 67 seller. 69, boom, into 69 again. Get it, man. There we go. So we're going to drop the cap. We're going to spin the damn money. That's what we're going to do. HWH got that good stuff. Shout out to Bovin. Keeping my eye on this one now, setting up for the next trade. What's the next level on this? VWAP showing itself here at $2.30. Keep your eye on a retracement into VWAP. Now, we have a bit of an anomaly happening right now with HWH. What is said anomaly? Where the volume weighted average price is higher up on the price than the 10 exponential. That typically doesn't happen. The 10 exponential, a more responsive indicator than the volume weighted average price. So when you see it like that, usually it's not something that we see often. So be on the lookout. VWAP at 231, the 10 EMA on the 5 at 220. Those are the support levels off which I would look to pick this up. Doesn't mean you have to. All right, now let's move back into my ad here on SGD. We get the print. Okay, so we got 40, what did we get there? 45s. Now I'm waiting at 48s. Can SGD find another look to the high side over here? I'm looking to take some out in front of the $1/2, knowing full well the $1/2 acts as a psychological area of resistance. So let's go ahead and set up a little bit north of said $1/2 here. We'll put some at 52s and see if we can wet the beak in and around there. It probably behooves me to work into REPL because this one has been, where is my Repel trade? Okay, it's not that one. Is it this one? Nope, not that one either. VCIG maybe? I don't know. Maybe we'll just put it up over here. So let's show everybody what the price action on a Repel looks like. It's up, as I mentioned, 23 some odd %, but it doesn't have too much in the way of crazy volume. It's a 1 penny spread on the day. It's, as I mentioned, almost $4. It's done about 12.8 million shares, so a little bit less than 13 million shares on the day. And here it goes again. So here's 94s. We just wicked into 99s. So that is the prior candle, not the current candle on the 5. The prior candle made the high of the day. In addition to making to the high of the day, the prior candle that closed at 11:15 held the 10 EMA like a dang glove. So this one's been obviously respectful of the 10 EMA on the 5. We'll have to keep tabs on that and see whether we can weasel in to a pullback into the 10 EMA. But as I see it, SGD popping up again, taking out my order at 49. Now I'm waiting at 52s. Let's see we get the 52 order, Ob. So we scalp out a little bit after the ad. Let's set up a little bit higher now. We're going to wait at 54s here on SGD, looking for continuation into that high. That high of the day happens to be a $1.63. Let's keep an eye out on that. Aura Alpha saying LIDAR, LIDR, one that we had eyes on last week. Let's see if this bad boy is still going. I mean, it's up 4%, 3.94, but, you know, this is not what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a small cap gapper. It's certainly not. So I'm going to say no to LIDAR, but thank you for pointing that out. Here we go again. Let's see now on SGD. We get the print at 55s. Nice. Now I'm not taking anything out until the high 50s. So we've got 2 orders posted here into 59 and into 61. SGD's got the goods. Just make sure you're trading it carefully. 55 still showing up here on the ask. Now it's 56. Let's keep watching this one. See if we can get something a little bit higher here on SGD. Happy with the ad, but we're not in the clear yet. We're not even that far away from the ad. We're only about like 10 pennies. No, we're like 15 pennies away. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Let's zip back to HWH because this one is pulling back, losing the $0.50. But as I mentioned, the volume weighted average price here in the low 30s, 234 now, VWAP showing itself on HWH. So we definitely have a lower low and a lower high on this current 5-minute candle. So a bit of a pullback here, but we're still quite close to day's high. Let's see if we do find support at these local levels. Oh, baby, I just saw SGD pop up and take out all my orders. Boom into SGD to the high side. This made a new high day into 163. We took it out at 61. We still got shares on this one. Let's set up here now in the mid 60s. I'm going to wait at 65 on SGD. Let's see what we can get. It's a 63 high day, Ob. We're going to pack our patience and see if we can get a little bit more on this one.
You can pass it.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Thank you for talking while I was trying to figure some stuff out. Still experiencing a little bit of technical issues, but guess what? Market's still open. Price action is still happening. Yeah. So I will observe, and we can talk about some stocks. So let me know, what do you guys want to talk about? We can go through them. We can chart. We can maybe do some technical analysis, which is it's funny. Some people call it market astrology. Sometimes there's some interesting videos on technical analysis and stuff, and the fun part of it is that there's definitely statistical significance to some type of technical analysis for sure. Yeah. And it's been proven over time. You can see you'll see it over and over again because there's always that break between people are like, oh, technical analysis means nothing. It's all about fundamentals, and then there are people who trade off of technicals that are like, oh, fundamentals mean nothing. Technicals are everything. I lean a little bit more towards price action is king.
My man.
Which right away goes to say that, yeah, sure, a lot of things are priced in, a lot of fundamentals, regardless of the change that happens fundamentally. Sure, some of the strongest trades you want to confluence with fundamentals, right?
Absolutely.
So how I deal with that sometimes is like, all right, if I'm trading just based off of technicals, it might not be as strong of a trade. 100%. But if I can add a fundamental catalyst onto the technicals, automatically it's a higher grade trade, right? Situational change. Say that, okay, they had strong earnings, they reported really well, and the technical breakout is happening. Maybe we're pushing all-time highs. That gives me stronger confluence to take the trade, right? So it's all a little bit of both. And what's up, Neil? Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right. Sure. So we're going to throw to Adira while Neil helps out.
I just want to mention here, keep an eye on maybe NU or the market in general. I'm seeing apparently Estado, which as far as I can tell, is a Brazilian newspaper or news outlet. Estado reporting that Brazil is working on negotiating a general 50% tariff with the U.S. That is the rate in the tariff letter that Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. It is a lot higher, though, than the 10% reciprocal tariff initially given to Brazil on Liberation Day. So either way, we're seeing some reports that apparently Brazil is interested in negotiating a 50% tariff with the U.S. Apparently, they're also not asking for sector-specific tariff exemptions. So interesting stuff. No tariff exemptions on watch here for Brazil reportedly, but they're looking for that general 50% tariff. Back to you.
Thanks you for that, Adira. All right, here comes HWH again. Shout out to Bovin. Yes, Bovin telling me HWH held 244, but here we go again. Look, it's a 275 high. I perceive us to be forming bull flag number one, 275 high, obviously, so we know how the bull flag works, right? We got a big pull up, that's the big parabolic move up, and then we have sideways price action, generally within a range. Not a hard and fast rule, and the ranges look different. Sometimes they compress, sometimes they're linear. So 275, here we go. Let me flip to the 5-second chart so we can kind of get our bearing straight over here. Here we go. So let's add in the share size that we're gonna take and be on the lookout for here. Now we have a triple top on the consolidation part of the bull flag here at around 2 mid to low 70s. So, as we've always talked about, no two bull flags are created equal in the sense that, you know, some of them have longer areas of consolidation, some of them have shorter ones. They can be 15 5-minute bars, or they can be 3. They just do not look alike. Here we go. Let's see if we can get something on the lower end of the range over here. So we're going to punch. Oops. It didn't punch. Okay, that's fine. So we missed it. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit lower. There we go. We'll take it right there. What do we get? We got 58s right into the mid 60s we go. Let's see if we can post up a little bit higher here on the, they definitely need hotkeys on this. Certainly need hotkeys. The seller at 60 now, big seller at 60 setting up here. So I'll be on the lookout for that. I'm just looking for the pattern or the trend, what I'm trying to say here ineloquently. On the 5-second chart, there was certainly a buyer of note at 45s. So between 40 to 45, if we lose that level, that could spell trouble for the longs over here. So let's keep an eye here on 245 to 240. Now, I should let you know that VWAPs are around 238. So if you're going to give your stop into that 240 area, you probably should take into account how close VWAP is to that area of actual price action support. So be on the lookout for that. So I'm long 58. We're taking like half the shares we took last time so that we don't lose too much if this one does turn south. But there it goes again. Oh my God. So we take out the levels. Here we go again. We're taking out all the levels again. Oh my goodness. There's the high of the day break. Boom. Freaking boom. There it is. We'll add again into this one. Let's see if we can set up a little bit more. Boom. Again into the mid 80s. Can we get 90s? Let's post. There we go. We get the top of the 90 there, Ope. So really happy with that add on HWH into the high of the day. It's a 291 high. Here comes $3. It's up over about 100%, 97 and change. Trade it carefully. They're around for a good time, not a long time. Crypto's next.
Just keep an eye here on some crypto names. We're going to start with stable coins, going over some catalysts to the market cap chart for USDC. Very interesting chart. I bring this up because we had a pretty bullish note here on stable coins from Blackrock saying that new U.S. legislation, especially the Genius Act, you know, was signed a couple weeks ago, is going to be basically cementing the role of stablecoins in global finance and reinforcing Bitcoin as a long-term case. So basically, long story short, BlackRock arguing that stablecoin legislation actually ends up being positive for Bitcoin as well, just in general as part of the whole crypto space. Let's take a look here at Solana USD. This is a 30-minute chart. We'll switch to the daily. Another interesting catalyst coming through, kind of meme coin related. Apparently one of the co-founders of Solana, Anatoly Yakovenko, has apparently stirred some crypto debate by saying that NFT and meme coins are digital slop with no intrinsic value. Now this is controversial because apparently a lot of these meme coins are actually being housed on the Solana blockchain. So that's apparently become one of the leading networks for NFT activity and launches of new meme coins. So interesting stuff here. Solana on the daily chart, definitely making some higher lows, but looking like we're struggling a little bit here to get decisively above that 206 level. That was also some previous resistance going back to February. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't discuss Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still in this beautiful bull flag on the daily chart. Definitely up quite nicely from our most recent form of, I guess, this low here around 114. Currently, we're in that 117.5 area. Let's see if we can reclaim 120,000. Take a look at Ethereum quickly as well before we send you back to the guys. Ethereum, super strong here, looking very similar to Bitcoin. This bull flag, though, with a much longer pull, and unlike Bitcoin, we're not necessarily at all at all-time highs. So Ethereum could have a little bit farther to go to the upside, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Anything there?
Yeah, so I guess I got some charts working, but we were talking about we can continue that conversation about fundamentals versus technicals, and I want you guys to chime in as well. Now, I don't know if there's any right or wrong answers. I think that's way above my pay grade. But yeah, I'd like to know, what do you guys mainly focus on? If we can get a poll up in the chat for what do you guys mainly lean on for trading? Fundamentals, technicals, or a little bit of both, right? And if you can go for that.
You know what I look at?
Yes.
So I just want to build on your point. I kind of look at the technicals as a story that's being told.
Right.
It is literally a story written in code with price. The market likes something. The market's bullish on something in the future. The market is concerned about, a possible change in regulation, everything reflected in the price. Wouldn't it be nice if there was like a charting software that kind of overlaid the story with the price action? So you hover over a day, there's obvious price action movement that day that warrants explanation. You hover over, I don't know, Donald did this that day and it sold off as a result of that. So I always see it's kind of one hand is the left hand is the technicals, and then the right hand is the fundamentals. But having said that, let me also tell you what I also think. Sometimes the technicals are the ones that lead. For example, if we come into a key area of technical support ahead of earnings and you're looking to buy in and around there, well, that level keeps coming in. Well, why does it keep coming in, right? And so it's like, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of, a story being told by the price with respect to fundamentals, but also the technicals leading in, sometimes leading as well when there are good technical areas. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I think it goes back to the point of confluence, right? If you can stack that confluence and you're like, okay, fundamentals are really good, bullish, right? The question I like to ask is that, is the news, the earnings, or new developments, whatever fundamental change that has happened to the stock, is that going to get bigger players involved? Right? Is this gonna cause maybe a rebalancing for funds, maybe firms, whatever it is? Are they going to want to buy or sell due to this changing fundamental? Right? And can we confluence that with a technical push or a break? Here we go. Thank you, Andre, for this. So here is the poll in the chat.
It is, baby.
Which do you lean on more, technicals, fundamentals, or both? I'm going to put in my vote right now. So there we go. Here it is. So 107 votes, and so far people are saying, I guess technicals winning 46%, fundamentals 12%. And both with 41%. So yeah, a lot of the crowd focusing on technicals and fundamentals. I would say.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in a bit on that, because I think sometimes if you let the fundamentals overshadow things too much, it can kind of distract you from what's happening technically. I remember that's happened to me before in a trade. It was actually Boeing, though not today. You're in a trade, it's going well, you think the technicals are on your side, then you hear something fundamentally that you think changes, so you get out, and then actually it turns out the market didn't really care. So I think sometimes it's worth waiting to see how the market reacts to news, because sometimes it doesn't even particularly care about the catalyst. I also want to talk about Walmart here, because we have a soccer-related catalyst on this one, Sharif. They just signed a multi-year partnership with Major League Soccer and the League's Cup. That is the company's first ever MLS sponsorship. Not huge, but it is worth noting that on a day where the market's relatively weak, Walmart is really strong. Back to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Adair. Thank you for chiming in. All right, so back into HWH over here. Where are we in? 82, just wet the beak there. Anything below 80 where I see buying, I'm just going to flatten out. I don't want to give back too much over here. So anything dropping below 80, we're going to flatten out. Let's see if we can get some continuity here to the high side. Here's 80. Buyer at 80 stepping in, but it could lose it at any second. It feels like the buyer stepping at 80 is going to get taken out over here. Popping back up into 83s. Let's see if we can work into the high 90s. And there it is. There it is again. Again on HWH. Here we're going to clear 3. Let's take that out up here. Trying to pack my patience. Maybe we can get a little bit higher in the 90s. Let's set up at 95s. Boom! Into 95. Seller at 95 won't print me. It didn't print me. The seller at 95 was too staunchy. Couldn't take him out. Let's see if we can take him out on this next attempt. You got to figure we're going to weasel into 3. My statement remains the same. Anything below 80, I flatten out. Now that seller has moved down from 95 into 92. Can we remove them? 93 is now showing up. 94, here we go. 94 is again coming back into play over here. So that seller, we're unable to kind of take him out at that level. I'm just going to pack my patience. I'm not going to take it out here. I'm just going to move my stop into 77. So we'll give this one a little bit of room so that it doesn't spike down, then get me stopped out. 94s, 95s. Here we go. Seller at 95 again. Look at that. Look at how staunchy that seller at 95 was. That was 2 attempts here with a lot of size churning. Let's see if we make another attempt at 95s. I mean, I could have taken it out on 94, but, you know, it's just about the good reps, maintaining discipline and insisting on getting your levels. Here we go. 93s. Let's keep watching here. 93s zigging and zagging. Can't shake that seller. Can't shake that seller. Let's pack our patience. Okay, so we're going to have to pack a lot of patience over here because that seller at 95 is a staunchy little bugger. So yeah, we'll just hold on to it and see if we can clear it. If we can clear it, fantastic. If we don't, we'll get stopped out. It's really going to work out that way because I'm not going to flatten out. Now, I want to mention REPL is at VWAP over here. So this could be a good entry into Repel. I haven't had a trade on REPL yet, but here it is, right back in to the volume weighted average price. It's found support at VWAP twice before. Is the third time going to be a charm, or is it when we lose the actual volume weighted average price? So there it is. That white line will always be VWAP on my charts. Be on the lookout here for a hold or a loss of that level. And there it is. Oh, we take it out. 95 seller, run for your life, bro. I tried to tell you. Now what's the high of the day right now? Show yourself high of day. It is 316. Shout out to Austin, Brother Bible, whichever one you want to go down that road. So we'll keep an eye out here on HWH. It's got all the gas right now. This is the best looking one in the market, in my humble submission. It is up 110% and still going. Keep your eye on HWH. You still got the gas. REPL, the one that we were just mentioning, is losing VWAP quite aggressively right now. So I won't be punching into that until and if it gets back above the volume weighted average price. But my eyes, Assassino, are fixated on HWH right now as it's got the right stuff or whatever. Got something there. What do you got?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, no, I'm looking at some of these trends that are happening in the market, man. What a reversion on AMD. Talk about not being there at the right time. And I think AMD, when it comes to the chips, it was doing things that were distinctly different. So let's just go through my chip basket here and look at what AMD was doing relative to some of the other stocks. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to duplicate this so we can have AMD on the side, and then we can go through some of the other chips and look at that comparison, I guess, real time here. So look, NVIDIA. So this is what AMD did in the morning session. And the Nasdaq was, I guess, a little bit more reflective, closer to NVIDIA than anything else. You can see the QQQs right here. A little bit of a pop in the morning. We've only been trending down since. So taking a look at NVIDIA, distinctly different was AMD. AMD didn't really catch a turn until about 10:45-ish. And then, yeah, it did come back into VWAP. Absolutely beautiful reversion, almost coming in and violating the opening range high on the 3-minute candle as well, 5-minute candles as well, and pulling back into pre-market levels. So that's where bid was off of the open. The question becomes, does the bid come back in off of that? But distinctly different. This was NVIDIA. Let's take a look at Intel really quickly. Intel, strong downtrend. Sure, we had a little bit of a reversion back towards that VWAP, attempted to hold, and then pushing back down as well. SMH, Sharif, you can see a little bit of a chop, but around that 1040 mark, that's exactly when AMD starts to turn. That's when SMH loses its VWAP and gets crushed all the way back through the opening range low as well. So SMH, being the semiconductor ETF, definitely something to watch if you're trading a chip name. But when you're seeing this, I was looking at SMH, I was looking at NVIDIA, and that's why I was attempting a few shorts a little bit on the front side of the move. But yeah, NVIDIA not really giving us the continuation that it's been giving us almost every day, printing fresh highs.
I saw it at
TSM
180
as well.
this morning too. I woke up, Squawk Box is showing the price. I'm like, this thing's knocking on the door of 180, bro.
Yeah,
why is it even gapping up $2?
I think that 180 was more than within range if you were looking for that in the morning. You can see TSM very similar to that of SMH, and now TSM definitely a heavier constituent of SMH as well. SMCI, we saw how strong that was yesterday. Take a look at yesterday's price action. Pretty much opening near the day low and closing at the day high. Looking for continuation today? Sure, it gives it to you for a little bit, but this one may be looking a little bit more similar to that of AMD. Right there, that same candle, 1042. We're seeing a confluence within the sector where a lot of the stocks started to break the bid around 1042, and that was the same time to get in on AMD for the reversion. That reversion is coming in absolutely beautifully. There is one more stock. I guess we can take a look at Micron as well, and oh boy, that reversion coming in right there. Same candle, 1042. So I asked myself, was it just sellers just switched across the whole sector, being like, all right, well, buyers are done, we're going to start pounding it in? I have no idea, but the turn definitely did happen in synchronicity at 1042. So yeah, absolutely crazy. AMD definitely distinctly different than the rest of them on the day. So. Okay, so we have about 550 votes here,
What are people
Sharif.
saying, Noel?
So I guess it's relatively similar to what we were seeing before, but both is closer to 50%. That's coming in at 47%. Only 10% of people trading on fundamentals.
That makes sense, though, for a trading show, right? Like, I don't expect too many people to want to base everything on fundamentals and watch a day trading show, so it kind of jives. You know, I don't mind fundamentals, don't get me wrong.
The fractal nature of price action. We hear Michael Noss talk about this all the time, right? So my argument a lot of the time is, what about the fractal nature of price action, right? You can have trend breaks on the minute chart, on the second chart, on the weekly chart, on the monthly chart, and they all are relatively the same. So I really am a strong believer of the fractal nature of price action, just because that's what the market has shown me. And you can't really deny what Mother Market tells you. You got to respect her, otherwise she's going to put you in your place. You know what I mean?
Mother Market. I love that. You always say that. You haven't said that in a hot minute.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I remember that one, Mother Market.
You got to stay respectful of Mother Market and really kind of make sure you're listening to what she's talking about, right? Fair. And at the end of the day, you can be so. You can be wrong you can be right about the fundamentals, but wrong on the trade more often than not, until it actually starts working. You hear that happen all the time. You'd be like, oh, they had great earnings. I hear people say this all the time. They had great earnings. They beat so much. Why is it selling off? Guess what? It doesn't matter. Market doesn't care.
No.
Mother Market don't care.
No.
If there's, it's like, I say it simply, I'd be like, why is it selling off? Well, because there's more sellers than buyers.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, trying to figure that one out.
Did you listen?
You can go crazy.
Right?
Trying to actually find the logical reason. You just have to accept what it is and trade it.
Sorry, what's that saying that they say? You know, it's the market will be irrational
longer than you can stay solvent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like that's a big part of it as well, and a lot of people get chopped up getting strong biases on strong fundamentals, but then they don't really follow the price action or what the market is actually telling them, what the chart and the price action is actually telling them. So we can rant on this for hours and hours. I've had conversations with friends over and over again, and you know, it's an interesting topic for sure.
Breaking news. Neil putting it in the chat. How do you say this guy, Chalamet? How do you say his last name, Neil? Chalamet? All right. Timothy Chalamet named Lucid's brand ambassador.
Oh boy.
Neil says they're taking a page from Sydney Sweeney's playbook, How many other companies have to start doing this? I'm very, very pro Sydney Sweeney being the poster girl for American Eagle. Is it American Eagle?
I don't know.
There's somebody there.
Yeah. Crocs.
Crocs.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was somebody else.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I know maybe American Eagle as well, but I know she also is, she does Crocs too. So that's of interest. Yeah, last year she's done Crocs. Yeah, typically Chalamet, that one's interesting for sure. I did want to mention as well, on a market note, that the U.S. and China are finishing their second day of trade discussions in Stockholm. So keep an eye. Sometimes after these end, we can get more comments coming through. Yeah, again, just keep an eye here. U.S. and China, second day of trade discussions in Stockholm now over. Keep an eye out in case there's any comments made by any of the parties involved, because sometimes that does happen. Yeah, I mean, that still processing the Lucid Timothy Chalamet partnership, I must say. Back to you.
Anyway, Sydney Sweeney over here. This is the one that got my attention last week. So, and you're seeing this a lot with a lot more of these companies. They are trying to get, the poster boys or poster girls for their companies, kind of move the needle. Obviously, there's going to be a huge social media push with respect to this. So, I think a lot of people would rather see her in clothes than in little Crocs there. But that's just my opinion. Oh, anything you got over there?
Nothing really. Again, we're talking about trends. Google, another one that's been trending nicely here, and Neil pointed this one out to me a little bit earlier. A little bit of a flag pattern happening above prior day's end-of-day range levels. You can see here a strong selling coming in on Google. We see that it's been kind of chopping sideways since earnings, right? Earnings was last Wednesday evening. We got a nice little flush off of the open coming in on earnings day one. So you know what? Let me throw up an anchored on this one here and see where we are sitting relative to that anchored VWAP. So let's see right here. So on day one, we reverted down into anchored VWAP. We were a little bit, I guess, attempting to push this after hours earnings reaction high, which came in just shy of 198. Bit of a false break of that pre-market high, and we got a nice little flush and quadunk. Dead cat bounce since then. A little bit of a flush prior day, Monday. You can see that right here. I was trying to take the reversion right here back in, and yeah, I think I did participate. Yeah, I was here. I think I was here on the show. Yeah, I was here on the show. And we took a little bit of a reversion back into that VWAP there, and today we're breaking back above prior days again range that I was talking about, 192. So a nice little push, consolidation, breaking prior days high now as it accelerates. Oh boy, look at that volume candle that just came in on that last 3-minute candle. Hey. Oh boy, indeed, we're almost
completely bucking the trend.
Yeah, of course. Nothing else is really looking like this. Let's take a look at the spider here, and the spider is definitely falling down the spout today as a nice little turn, failure to follow through above prior day's highs right off of the open, a little bit of consolidation from the day before, but yeah, fresh week lows happening as of right now, with a day low coming in at 634.69, and the same thing with I guess we can go. I like to look at the Qs, the TQs as well, but let's take a quick look at these right here, and TQs again pouring to the downside. We attempt to push right off of the open, didn't really come in, but I'm looking for a potential break of this trend and waiting for maybe buyers to step right back in. So let's see, a little bit of a downtrend here as well. So we'll see whether or not the market does catch a bid, Sharif, but sellers are definitely in charge on the day today.
Okay, I worked back into SGD. Are we good? Sassino? Everything's fine? Oh, we're going to Adara.
I'm gonna let you guys know, it looks like we might be getting a press conference on these U.S.-China talks. Right now, it's just people sitting in a very sterile-looking room. No one's here yet. There's a lot of static. But if there is any updates, I'll let you know. We're also getting commentary coming from China's top trade negotiator, Li, FXI popping a little bit here. He's saying that the two sides had candid, in-depth, and constructive discussions. Apparently, they also realized the importance of maintaining healthy, stable relationships. And they also reviewed the implementation of the Geneva Convention. It is unclear if we're going to get a third day of talks. If I do hear anything else, I'll let you know. But just be aware, it seems like, at least based on this stream, there will be some kind of press conference here. If there's any updates, I'll let you know. FXI reacting well to this commentary. Back to you.
I worked back into SGD here as it got into the volume weighted average price. But what I'm starting to notice with basically every single small cap gapper on my side chart is they're all losing VWAP. None of them are holding. Despite the strong price action to start the day. And let me just make my case to you. STAI lost VWAP. SGD is the only one that's holding VWAP, hence why I'm in. Rappel lost VWAP. HWH lost VWAP. FMST lost VWAP. It's only NEG, man. And NEG is like a $46, $45 stock. I don't want to trade this. It's not even a small cap gapper. And it's insanely spready. So I'm going to stay away from that one, but I just put it on there because it's got strong price action. But these small cap gappers are losing the bid. STAI is trying to work its way back above VWAP. You can see that top left of your screen over here. This one had a good move into the aftermarket. Yesterday, 405. Maybe it was earnings, maybe it wasn't. I don't really care. What I'm looking for is the price action. And this one is, the price action displeases me at the moment because it's below VWAP. In fact, it's using VWAP, what I perceive as an area of resistance, much in the same way that it does when it's above it as support. So let's keep an eye out on these small cap gappers because they're all kind of singing here with the same tune, which is the loss of VWAP tune. So yeah, that's the situation. So SGD, the only one that I perceive kind of to be at an area where I can pick it up and give it another attempt, maybe at like the mid 40s. If we get really, really strong, then maybe the 50s. Talk about PayPal, dude. I don't talk about large caps. Sorry, DJ Trader. I'll do that on the news, but I'm not going to be talking about it as my trade. DJ Trader, you just said price action. Price action, price action. Yeah, sorry, man. It's really what it matters when you're trading these things intraday. It really is the price action. But you brought up a good point, Ob. I mean, you were telling me the other day, you're like, look, I like to look at the headline news. That way I can kind of get the feeling of whether or not this could have a third leg, a fourth leg, a fifth leg, not just a one or two, and then we're done. So you also kind of take technicals and pair it a little bit with the fundamentals to see if you can get something, a stronger move out of it. Is that a fair statement?
For sure. I think, like I said before, it's when you can pair a strong technical catalyst with a strong fundamental catalyst, the trade automatically becomes so much better.
Feels that
so
way, right?
If you like to grade your trades from C, B, A, and then size relatively to those, we were talking a little bit about that yesterday.
Right.
Say, for example, say a technical trade for me is a B minus, right?
Okay.
A B minus breakout. Right? I'm like, all right, we're breaking maybe multi-month highs, and because it's a higher time frame, I like it for the technical push.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasoning as well. Think about it. If it has a short flow, right? If it has a little bit of a short flow, or you know that with relative action that maybe sellers have been getting paid, right? And it breaks that trend or breaks that high, and it's a multi-month trend or a multi-month high. There's probably people who are covering that trade.
That makes absolute sense.
So technically, it's like, okay, like you said, it tells you a story. The chart and the price action, the technicals tells you a story, and you can be like, okay, sellers have been in charge, buyers have been in charge. What happens when their stops get hit?
Exactly.
Right? They add pressure to the market, whether it's buying or selling pressure. And if you see that happening, that's confirmation.
I want to ask you something else just before we go to Dare for happening now. So, or whatever we're going for. The experience comes into play here, though. Let's just take biotech stocks, for example. A lot of these biotechs, they make aggressive moves based on phase 1 trials. But we know phase 1 trials, you know, they're good to an extent. An experienced possible trader who trades a lot of these biotechs might know that a phase 2 trial worth a lot more than a phase 1 trial. Yeah. So it's like assessing the news from a fundamental perspective, that just comes with, I guess, experience and time, and maybe obviously specialized knowledge within that sector. Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know I think here's something I do want to add. Go. One of my favorite traders. His name is, I'm sure you guys have heard. Let me know in the chat if you guys have heard of him. Yeah. Stephen Dux. Okay. So he trades. He's goated in the trading community for sure. But he has a strong opinion on biotechs, because he said I've heard him say before. Now, don't quote me. I'm paraphrasing. Sure. Saying biotechs kind of do their own thing. Maybe they move a little bit more
on fundamentals than they do technicals. He does not touch them at all. Now, this guy has made hundreds of millions of dollars.
I believe that.
You know what I mean? Now, when a player like that is saying that, when he trades his playbook, he doesn't even touch those stocks because they're so unpredictable.
Crazy, eh?
Then I'm like, all right, well then.
What the hell am I touching it for?
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm like, if he thinks that's a really hard game, it's like, I'm sure there are players out there who excel at trading biotechs as well, right? That's
their niche. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, but that's kind of my thing. So I think there are certain sectors, like you said, which may lean a little bit heavier on fundamentals, and using those phase 2, 3, and if you understand how some of the drug trials go and what it means in terms of the potential for that drug to actually move on to FDA approval.
Sure.
Then
Make
you can
money,
kind of build into that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that has maybe a little bit more to do with fundamentals than it does technicals.
Just before we go to Dara, SGD held VWAP. There it is, into that 155 again. We'll take it out really at that 155 area. Shout out to Nimrod. He's in it. He's throwing down 30 shekels in the chat. Appreciate you, Nimrod. Hope to see you soon. Go ahead, Adara.
Just be aware, guys, this market bouncing really nicely off lows. Unclear if there's a specific catalyst, but it is worth noting that we did have, again, more commentary coming from lead China trade negotiator Lee. He said, now it's about 5 minutes ago, but he said that both countries, so the U.S. and China, will continue their efforts to extend suspension of reciprocal tariffs and maintain Chinese countermeasures. So looks like here that they're going to be suspending reciprocal tariffs. Unclear how that's going to work with this potential maintenance of Chinese countermeasures. We're going to have to wait and see. But either way, again, we're supposed to be having a press conference. It has not yet started. Now they actually cut the feed. So as I get more details, I will let you know. But yeah, lots of volatility and excitement here in this market. Bouncing off lows, the reversion of the reversion, as Obi might say. Back to you.
7%.
You see,
Down 7%.
That was pretty funny.
What the hell?
Did you see what Fabian put down there? Oh, boy.
Breaking news. Biotechs kind of do their own thing. Obi. You're hilarious.
Thank
Fabian,
you,
bro. We got to take that tool away from Fabian. He's killing it with
I
that.
love that. I love that.
A shout out to Fabian.
Yeah, I want to know. Do you guys trade? Do you guys trade a lot of biotechs? I know that I've been involved in biotechs in the personal account before.
Yep.
And I think it was. I actually got, margin called on one as well. If you remember Sava.
Oh, I remember Cassava Sciences.
Cassava Sciences, of course.
Yeah.
Another very strong biotech that happened, and a squeezer as well, right? People probably shorting based off of technicals, and then just getting trapped and squeezed out as well.
SRPT.
Yeah.
Sarepta Therapeutics, Sarepta, thank you, Ob. Yeah, that one, zigging his A was up like 40% this morning when I saw it. But yeah, it pulled back last week, a lot of or the week before, a lot of downgrades. Moderna is the only one that strikes me as the one that I really standout trade, because that was during the pandemic. It was like $37 before it made its way to 400 or wherever it double topped at. Joseph was involved in that too. That was, I just remember thinking, I'm like, okay, it's COVID. We're all at home. How are we going to get out of home? We need it. Well, yeah, at the time, I don't know the information that I know now. So I was like, yeah, vaccine. Right. So I was looking for all these vaccine names. There were so many, right? That were all trying to kind of get there. Remember, NVAX had its play as well. AstraZeneca was running with that viral vector, obviously Pfizer. But Pfizer just had too much of a pipeline just to be one dominant, but it kind of feels that way because I haven't been doing anything either. All right, Nick Dubb, good to see you again, man. It's been a minute since I've seen your name in the chat. Hope you are well. Mind touching on ABEO? I hope it's a small cap gapper.
Because otherwise,
people are talking in the chat about the biotechs. I wanna reiterate, not large cap biotech. I'm talking about small, mid-cap biotech.
The
and somebody in the chat
established. They're established.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I saw Adair in the chat being like, Lilly, right? Yeah, for sure. You have Pfizer, as well, right? Strong biotechs, sure, they definitely are a little bit different, but the small caps, absolutely, small to mid caps, absolutely crazy. And someone pointed out in the chat, like, yeah, but biotechs kind of do their own thing. We saw that some of them are trying to become crypto reserves.
I know.
You know what I mean? That literally like confirms the statement. Biotechs kind of do their own thing.
No, but think about what,
you know what I mean?
Think about the differentiation you just made. You made a very important differentiation. The smaller cap biotechs are basically targets for buyouts, for acquisitions by larger caps. So if you have a successful phase 2 trial, maybe even phase 3, you're a target for an acquisition by a bigger name, which obviously needs some premium in order to move the needle. So if you're trading at 15, maybe the deal strikes at 20. Otherwise, how do you get all shareholder approval? How do you get management to be on board and the bigger shareholders? So there usually is a premium there, and that's an arbitrage play in and of itself, aside from just the drug doing well and being profitable and revenue worthy. All right, so let's look over here at Nick Dubb. He was talking about ABEO, therapeutics name, perfect call out there, $350 million market cap, so can definitely qualify as, similar to what we're talking about there. So let's start out with the daily chart on this. I have the 5-minute. Let me just start out with the daily. So this is not a bad daily as of late, just from the last 3 years. This goes back to March 2022, kind of a bit of a range there with $3 to the bottom and essentially more or less about 7.5 to the top. Let's flip to the weekly, get a better look. What did this one do during the pandemic? Yeah, it's got the double top that we saw with that's not even the pandemic, dude. That's 2018. So it probably had some catalyst there. Yeah, it's been down and to the right since then, but when you look locally, there's certainly a level you can base it on. The highs there are around 9 and change, with the lows being about 3, 2.5. So intraday, let's just flip. It's got a bull flag set up. Buyer at 675, you can clearly see that, with a seller at 685. I'd play this as a range until you get a breakout or a breakdown. That's just my look on ABO. Very perfunctory look. We're going to happening now with Adair, and then Neil's got his lesson of the day.
Here's the market, certainly trying to bounce here. This is the S&P 500. We just put in our first 15-minute candle of the day that is green. Let's see if we can hold it. The Nasdaq here, yeah, pretty similar. Now trying to put in our second green 15-minute candle of the day. Why the bounce? We'll get to that in a second. I do want to mention here we do have breaking news on MindMed, MNMD. Apparently circulating here that the Massachusetts Psychiatric Society actually calling on lawmakers to legalize psilocybin. They are endorsing psilocybin, so good look here for some of these mushroom-related plays. Now, the positive catalyst here for the market and also FXI specifically, though it's dropping a bit here, does come after we had the conclusion of the second day of trade talks between China and the U.S. We do have China's chief trade negotiator, Li, saying that China and the U.S. have agreed to extend their 90-day tariff truce. They're going to keep higher rates from being imposed for the meantime, so it seems like definitely trying a diplomacy here between the U.S. and China. Good look for the FXI, at least temporarily, and certainly good look for this market as well. I want to mention a lot of these earning plays still really weak. BA bouncing off lows, but you have new names like PYPL pushing into low of day, UPS near low of day. So any attempts here for these earnings names to push higher, they generally have been a lot weaker. I want to mention as well, this just came through my radar. Keep an eye on Elf, Ulta Beauty, any of these beauty plays. L'Oreal just reported earnings. Back to you. Or Neil.
Is it though? I've snuck in though. Thank you, Dara. And the lesson of the day is brought to you by a conversation that the boys were having about it doesn't matter. Just look at the price action. Levels don't make a difference if there's no buyers there. That being said, if you're waiting for confirmation at a big level and it bounces, well, how are you supposed to get in? You're going to miss the trade. Well, there's another way to look at it. If you have a market-wide reversal like we did where everything was falling, then you can eyeball, say, the Qs, but know where you're going to go elsewhere to have a trade that doesn't require you to catch the low. All you need is confirmation that a level is going to hold. Now, I always say this, when in doubt, zoom out. The market starts doing something distinct at the open, failed a breakout. On a 60-minute chart, just so you guys, it's condensed so you can see it, the overnight low, including yesterday's, resistance area. It was also the overnight high from the previous day. So previous day's overnight high, overnight lows, and generally where we closed. We bounced off that to the candle wick. Now, once you see that holding, your question becomes, where am I going? Now, you're going to go to something relatively strong, hopefully, and you don't have to have that bottom. Now, obviously, two names, and the two biggest chip names in terms of moving yesterday were SMCI and AMD. So two of the stronger names this morning were SMCI and AMD. So what are the two things I went to? Let's go with I would start with the bad first instead of the one that worked. Well, I observed the futures trying to make that bottom. Took a shot on SMCI. It didn't work as the market was trying to bounce off that low. Now, could I have gotten back in? Sure. But what happened is I went to both those names. Whoops, I just went NVIDIA instead of AMD. I went into both those names the first time. AMD bounced a little bit and then failed. SMCI didn't. So when we bounced again, I just made a determination. Okay, well, I took both of the strong ones at the same time. Ultimately, SMCI did work. But my decision was they both didn't go initially. So they both didn't go the full move, but AMD went initially and showed me buyers in this range. So when I go to jump back into the trade, I'll go with the one that had a little more oomph on the first bounce. Let me cancel this bid before I get run over. And it just comes down to a couple of things. I know what's going on over in the Qs. There's not much in terms of trying, unless you're just that good of a tape reader, to be able to catch those lows. But when we get into overnight lows and support levels, before that wick, you try to bounce. Okay, so you take a couple of shots in some strong names. It doesn't hold. When you bounce the second time, maybe you, for myself, and this is up to each person, for myself, instead of taking two things long the second time through, I'm just going to focus on one. I like them both for the bounce, but I'm just going to focus on the one, that time AMD over SMCI. But the real key is if you're looking at a big price level in, say, the futures or in any given stock, if you can find somewhere else to execute it, like a proxy play that might move a bigger percentage, AMD and SMCI are going to move a bigger percentage than the Qs on any kind of a bounce, where I can look for the same level holding, but I can get more juice out of that squeeze. And if it's a strong play, if it's a stronger stock than the market generally, that I think helps. I think most times I would rather do that in something that was outpacing the market earlier and I think has a chance to go. Your ideal situation would be something that actually wasn't even breaking the trend, where it was just still holding an uptrend, but I think that was really hard to find. The real simple concept, though, is, yeah, you could maybe somehow peg the Qs at the absolute low. And if you did do that on a 568 stock, you would have got like $1 and change. If you did it in SMCI and you peg that low, you get $1.40 on a stock, which is a tenth. On AMD, so it's 10. I mean, for every dollar invested, you're getting 10 times. It's more move. It's a bigger move in SMCI. In AMD, bottom to top. I mean, I pulled $1.50, but you could have pulled $2 out of that and $170 stock. Again, better than you would have done in the Qs. Now you can trade a leverage product, of course, to maybe get yourself some better odds in there. That's another way to play it. But what I love about this setup is both of those stocks were still green, holding above highs, so they're still green on the day. They were super strong, so you know there's a lot of buyers that liked it earlier. You're reverting a big move to the downside, and you're trading something that generally you've been tracking for the last couple of days. So that's the first thing that I always think about. Is the level going to hold on the futures? If the level is going to hold as it's coming down, what are the things that I want to buy? And I know ahead of time the two names, it would have been NVIDIA if it had been strong, but I knew ahead of time it was going to be SMCI and or AMD. And once you've identified that, it's easier for you to take some more specific entries. Now, I was a little bit late to the second entry, but at least we're able to get it back through that 177. But you got to pick something. Grip it and rip it. It's a lot of times it'll come down to you're going up to bat looking for your pitch. You know, if you like the fastball, go hunt fastball. It's simple as that. You like the ball out over the plate, then until you get 2 strikes, look out over the plate. You know, it's one of those things. I always had coaches that said, keep it simple. So if we're trying to catch the dip buy on a futures level, then go to the name that you want to trade long the most. And if you bounce off that level, take the shot there. You know, you don't have to buy Tesla because it's Tesla. You don't have to buy the Qs because they're the market. You can go over to something which you feel is relatively strong, that you have a good read on, and then execute your trade there. where to express the trade in a market move is sometimes just as important as calling the market move itself. So that's your lesson of the day. Good luck, everybody. And hopefully we don't continue to bleed forever because we all enjoy up days more than down days.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Neil. Appreciate that. Your flight is tomorrow, Nimrod. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Have a safe flight.
Yes. Get at me on the gram, Nimrod, when you're here.
Where's he flying to?
He's coming to Toronto.
Oh,
man.
no way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think he's
All right.
actually staying, not Liberty Village, somewhere near Liberty Village.
Okay.
Near your boy Joey Options.
Nice.
I forget. He's got an Airbnb out there. It's actually a nice area. What did he say? No, he
Park?
didn't say Queen's Park, remember?
Queen's Park?
Close, but he didn't say that. He said something else. He'll tag us now.
There's a lot of people living in Queen's Park right now.
your boy Big Dougie.
Oh yeah,
Chief
the
among 'em.
Kill Bill 5. You seen the camp there? Yeah, interesting.
But I just want to mention a stock that's breaking out here. I like that, sports and stocks. No, that was the other guy, Ozan. He was going to stay with either me or Joe, but then I don't know, something happened there, and he said he wasn't going to stay with us anymore. So we're good with that.
One of the viewers we're gonna stay with.
It was
you
a
guys?
joke. It was a running gag.
Oh,
yeah.
It's gonna be like that.
He liked when we did the e-signal. He liked when we yelled out China. I haven't seen him in a minute, but shout out to Ozan, wherever he's at. Assassino, look at this. Not bad, huh?
Arcon?
Not bad. Arcon.
Oh, boy.
Shout out, I got to shout out whoever called this one out over here. Feed the Thinker. Shout out to Feed the Thinker. Arcon, RCON, halted to the high side, 581 up 96.78%. Oh, baby. Let's take the opportunity right now while it's halted to find out some details on it. We got a 7.26 million share float, of which 5%. Almost 4.96 according to Trade Ideas is borrowed for short. As you know, we've been using Perplexity these days. What's the short interest on Arcon? Tell me quickly before it opens. 4.96. Okay, so
wow, Perplexity is quick, man.
yo, it's good. It's good, Ob, and it's so finance focused.
Really?
Yeah, and it gives you. Yeah,
You pay for it?
No, bro. This is Perplexity.ai. Simple as that. No, not involved, obviously, with them. It's been good.
Interesting. I want to compare that to GPT because
Multiple sources too, Ob.
I actually
not just
pay
one.
for. So what's the prompt that you gave it?
Literally what I just
Yeah,
typed. What's the short interest on? And I didn't even type in the name Arcon.
On Arcon.
What does it give you? Let's see how long it takes too. Hurry up, chat.
Oh, this is not the fastest one, but this is the most advanced reasoning one. I'm using 03.
Fair. Oh, you're using 03, bro. You can't be giving 03 such light problems. Use the
04 mini. Yeah, I think 04 mini is the faster one. Yeah, no, this one, I like it. I'm like, okay, you know what? Think for a little bit longer, but give me a good answer.
I like both, Ob. I want to have options for both, speed and accuracy.
That was really quick. Okay, so you know what?
Look how long that's taking. But you're using 03, Ob. To be fair to chat, daily day trade. Yes, brother. We were talking about Arcon right here. It's halted to the high side. Let's find out some of the details here about the halt. Let's take out HWH because it's gone to the downside. Let's go convict. 581, the halt level, halted 208.33. The current time, let's find out in the atomic clock. It is 2:13:32. There it is, right to the second it opened up. Excellent there. Now, what's the deal? We're losing the bid, or are we? We just popped down into about 5.25, and we're right back up into that halt level. Remember, 581, the halt level. It already lost it. It's got a high day of 610, spiked up to 610, dropping back down above 5.5 for the moment. The 10 exponential moving average on the one. I was going to say the 5. What's the 5 at? No, we're well separated now from the 5. So the only other support level here I see on the 5-minute is that $5 psychological support, but below that, VWAP's at 475. That's on the 5-minute chart, off which I base almost all my entries and exits. But on the one, I think it was about 5.25, the 10 exponential. So let's see what this one does. It's obviously very active right now. The spread is reasonable, 3-4 pennies at times. As the volume picks up, it might tighten up a little bit more. We're about almost a little bit less now than 3.9 million shares. Keep your eye on this one. I'm going to flip to the 5-second chart on my top screen just so I can take a gander of when the trend starts changing. And it feels like it might be changing now. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can punch in a little bit. It's not letting me in. Okay, so I think that this one is blocked in our system. Let me just find out here quickly by doing so this one is blocked. Okay, it's fine. All right, so we'll be able to tell you about it, but we won't be able to execute on it on ARCON. What does this company do? Provider of hardware, software, and on-site service to companies, petroleum mining, China. Okay, that's why. All right, sorry guys, but yeah. All right, well, it's breaking out, but coming back in a little bit here, keep your eye on that $5 area. Now the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, a little bit higher than where I mentioned last time. I said 475, that's changed now at 490. The closer VWAP and the whole dollar level get, in my humble submission, the better. It's not always a hard and fast rule, but something to keep an eye out. It's like, as your friend Obi likes to say, there's confluence there. It's conflating with the price action level as well as the indicator level being VWAP. We're getting two hammer candles back to back though right now on ARCON, with a subsequent hammer candle, the one that we're currently on, with a higher low, but a lower high obviously. So we'll keep tabs on this one. Won't be able to execute on it, but we'll certainly call it out for you. If you guys are able to, take the trades, make as much money as you can, but goodness gracious, please trade it carefully. Absolutely, Assassino. Let's remind everybody right now that the way to get your names, the tickers that you guys want to talk about on the afternoon rundown with the Katina Man and the Neil, is to vote every day. And the only way to vote is to weasel into the chat right now, throw in that $sign followed by a 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker. It automatically registers. As you see, ARCON coming in there. So somebody just voted for ARCON. BBAI flying in, SMR. How about Hulk? People are still voting Hulk. Rocket Labs, SBET, Astis. I love the focus here on rocketry, Astis and Rocket Labs. We got Bull and Lunar, BMNR. All right, UNH, GTI. Keep bringing in the votes, guys. If you guys want the Katina Man and Neil to look at the stock you want spoken about on the afternoon rundown, you will have to use the $sign. That's for you there, Mr. Ruzhidi. Hi, Seni. You put QS without the $sign. Streamlabs gets very upset if you do that, and it won't register your vote. So go back in, throw in that QS, but preceded by said $sign. Oh, but I want to let everybody know that NEG is absolutely flying. This thing is a multi-day runner. From yesterday to the high of today, this thing's up 47%. Fantastic name. It's not a small cap gapper, I do not believe. Let me just double check. It's quite spready. We're going to load it up on a trading screen here to see what kind of spread. We're almost in billion-dollar territory here on NEG. Newegg Commerce. That's the name of the company, $934 million market cap. It's only traded about 1 million shares on the day. And that's probably, obviously, contributing to the wider spread. But as you can see here, the two-day price action, great move up yesterday. You get continuity into about 3:30. Then you know the imbalance, or the not the imbalances, but the selling comes in towards the end of the day. Most notably, though, even when we sold out into about 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we generally held VWAP. This morning, we hold yesterday's low, yesterday's close. In fact, we don't breach that $39 close. In fact, we clear it by $10, $49.50 high. It's been crazy respectful for whatever reason of this yellow line on the chart there. That yellow line on my chart will always be the 20 exponential moving average. It's an absolute buy off that level, or has been today. You get a couple of bull flags once, twice, and we're in OB thrice territory right now. Likely some resistance at the $50 level if we do work our way up there. But keep your eye on NEGG. Spready and expensive, but definitely one that has good momentum to the high side. Go ahead, Adara.
Spready and expensive sounds great. I do want to quickly mention a catalyst here and a name that is also spready and expensive, Palo Alto Networks. Wall Street Journal reporting that PANW, or Palo Alto Networks, here is nearing an deal for CyberArk worth over $20 billion. So apparently Palo Alto near an acquisition deal here valued over $20 billion for CyberArk, CYBR. CyberArk, keep an eye on. CyberArk pushing sharply to the upside. This name going from 377 all the way up to 440. Palo Alto Networks to the downside on this acquisition report here from Wall Street Journal. Back to you.
Thank you for that.
What's going on here, man?
Yeah, that's Nick Dub.
20 billion market cap, so not a smaller mid cap at all. No. Man. This thing is going absolutely crazy right now. So, yeah, it's funny because normally it does not do a lot of volume here. Average volume I have at 683,000 shares per day. That's the average 30-day volume. So yeah, it does not do anything at all, but an influx of strong volume coming in as of right now. Yeah, ripping it to the upside. Technical breaks happening 400 right through 400. Let's take a look. I did not know about this stock before now. And oh boy, this is looking like a little bit of an all-time high break as well. Sharif, let's go straight to the monthly chart and take a look at this one. And yes, that's an all-time high break. What do these guys even do? Technology, software, services. Okay,
Probably.
all right. So
Yeah. Probably
interesting,
cybersecurity.
yeah, cybersecurity stuff. So yeah, pushing into 450s right now, 449.36, the current high of day. And shout out to Mr.
And this
Brian
is
Shannon, 'cause I'm gonna
awfully
throw that
suspicious.
tankard. Yeah.
Look at what PANW did before the news dropped, Obe. All-time highs. Look at this. So 210.39, it would just be this level here. So February 13th, what do we get to there, Obe? 210.63. Today's 210.39, so literally at the all-time highs. So somebody knew something. You gotta love this. All these guys, they need to get audited. It doesn't cost that much money or that hard to do. Everybody who punches in has a broker. And all the brokers require ID and they do a colonoscopy before they give you any sort of access to the market. I would just basically audit the hell out of these guys and weed this out of the system. What a move up there. It hits all-time highs and then we release news. Super suspicious. But where do we saw this yesterday on something else. What was it?
Which one?
Specifically, no, was that Joseph and I
Palantir.
think? No, it wasn't
Palantir
Palantir.
did like a
I'm
crush
not
move
saying it
yesterday.
didn't, but yeah. I forget specifically which one it was. I think I was talking to Joseph about it. But anyway, interesting move here for PANW, makes or not all-time highs, to be fair. It was 30 pennies below all-time highs. Then, boom, drops like that. But ARCON, absolutely not dropping, 112%. And here we go again, a 645 high. It holds the volume-weighted average price like a glove. Look at this on ARCON. Fantastic retracements, all into VWAP, all bottoming tail candles, meaning the buyers were crazy exuberant. Then this candle here, the one that we're currently on, clears all the previous highs. Keep your eye on ARCON. Neil, is there any possible way we can submit a ticket? Because, I mean, this one's moving, so we might as well, weasel into it or something if it's warranted. So ARCON, 645 high, great breakout. It's really the only one that seems to be going right now, guys. SGD still holding VWAP. STAI's drop below VWAP. Rappel is trying to work back above VWAP. HWH certainly lost VWAP and then some. Likewise with MFST and VCIG. So really it's the ARCON show right now unless something else weasels its way onto the scene. OCON, can you please look at the chart? There is close to no volume, but thinking for a swing due to small float, asks Bovin. We'll look at OCON in a second, and then also the OG Nick Dub there with CSGP. We'll look at Bovin's first, OCON. Log in on Unity, Ob.
Yeah.
So OCON, let's load up that bad boy, OCON. OCON, Bovin, can you put that ticker again? I don't think it's right, brother. OCON. I'm not getting anything here on OCON, Bovin, so I'll wait for you to tag me again on that. CSGP. Let's have a look at CSGP over here. There we go. Okay. It's a little expensive there, though, Nick. 1.3% CoStar Group. What is CSB? Great-looking setup. Well, it's been great for the past few days, that's for certain, especially after that consolidation area break above 85. Almost $10 clear of that. What's the daily on this one look like? Let's look. Yeah, great call out there, Nick, especially if we clear that 100 where there's certainly been selling. What I do like, though, is the obvious higher lows. So good call out, Nick, for that. CSGP, what does this company do? CoStar Group, online retail marketplace information and analytics. I wonder if it's moving because of Open Door, that is. We'll have a look at the correlation later, Ope.
All right, so guys, trade the pool. With Trade the Pool's swing trading programs, you can get access to up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares, not CFDs. You can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy limited risk thanks to a one-time evaluation fee. No monthly payments, no hidden costs. Take Vincent, for example, one of Trade the Pool's swing traders. He's already locked in $23,000 in profits. His top performer NMAX, he shorted it from April 20th to May 30th and pulled in a $6,777 gain. Trade the Pool is giving swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. Scan the QR code and enjoy 10% off. So, Sharif, some good news. Oh boy.
You're logged back in?
We're doing it live.
Oh!
We are doing it live, logged right back in. So the question becomes now, where is the next trade? So, you know what I mean? Just because everything's working again doesn't mean I'm automatically going to punch into a trade. Oh, no, no, no. Somebody in the chat was like, oh, I got bored of listening to Obi and Sharif and took a trade and lost on the trade. And I was like, all right, good. Don't take boredom trades. That's a good lesson, right? So I'm not going to take boredom trades. Let's wait for playbook setups to set up, and then we'll take them as well. So Google still trending to the upside. I got to check what some of these other stocks are doing and get a grasp on some of this market action that's been happening. What's up, Adara?
Okay, just to provide some more context there in that CoStar group. This name sounded familiar, so I did look into it. It's actually on the Nasdaq and it's in the S&P 500. So this is by no means a smaller cap stock, just to provide some context. Specifically, market cap of 39, so basically $40 billion here. Float of 417, almost 418 million shares. So by no means a small cap CSGP in terms of what they do. They do media, but they very specifically are in the media and marketing space for real estate. So they provide information, analytics, and marketing services to the commercial property industry. So very interesting company there, just to provide some context on CSGP because it was spoken about there. Back to you.
All right. So let's take a look at what my friend AMD was doing or is doing right now, and I can show you what I did now because my arrows are there finally. So you can see I was aggressive initially, and today, man, I don't know what was up with me today. I came in swinging. I was like, all right, I'm using B size for every single entry. Boom, boom, boom. And a little too aggressive. Okay. But yeah, like I said, when it does come in, not really involved. But as of right now, holding that VWAP area, I think I gotta check on my chart here real quick. Let's just pull up a chart. AMD. Let's throw on some indicators right here. So this was that trend break, absolutely beautiful. So yeah, right now holding underneath VWAP, kind of showing us that sellers might be still in charge. So I do want to get a little bit involved in this one. Let's keep it tight here. And we talk about structures and using structures. So that 179 is pretty far away, about over a point away. But we are making some lower highs underneath VWAP. So let's take a quick stab at this one. I also want to see and check if all my orders and everything are in order and see if everything is working. Oh boy, this what's up with this? Funny enough, AMD is the graphics card in this computer, and one of my hotkeys is the same hotkeys that the AMD panel, the gaming panel, opens up when I go in for the stop, and I always have to kind of come in and be like, all right, well, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, cool, perfect, boom, let's go. Let's see if this AMD continues to sell off a little bit. Market at its lows, we did kind of pick up, so buyers have kind of taken up a little bit of the mantle since some of those lows have been printed, but who knows? Sellers could still continue to do exactly what they've been doing all day here on the Nasdaq and the ES and continue to push us a little bit lower. Selling coming in pretty aggressively as well. I do want to take a quick look at some of the largest volume leaders on the day, Sharif. Yes, sir. And let's see what's going on. And I'm sure some of those small caps are definitely going to show up. We know how much volume some of those have been doing. SoFi, we talked about this one a little bit earlier. Strong opening drive off of earnings day one. Absolutely aggressive. As of right now, hasn't really done much since we last talked about it, still consolidating in and around VWAP. All right, so NVIDIA, okay, these are 1 minute charts. I probably don't want to do that. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, guess what? We're doing it live now. NVIDIA still to the downside, maybe capitulated here, but not a strong volume signature just yet. But 175 hold, I like that. Let's see if it could go ahead and bring that back to VWAP. What's up, Adara?
I just have a little bit more context here in this China China-US deal. We initially had a nice bump here on that China deal. Now we're back at new low of days. Now it is worth noting that both U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer are saying that they need to discuss the details of this potential tariff pause with Trump before anything is official. So again, this agreement here is not complete. It is still subject to approval from U.S. President Donald Trump. Though we do have U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying that they do understand China's agenda much better. After this talk, it's unclear what exactly that entails. But either way, everyone seems pretty positive about these conversations. Though again, U.S. saying, hey guys, we don't have a deal quite yet. Trump still has to give his all clear. Back to you.
Yeah, sorry about that, Anonymous. You're saying you got wrecked in ARCON.
Thank you very much.
You know how these ones work, guys, but be careful with them. Here's NEG, though, man. NEGG just continues to make higher highs and higher lows. I thought we would get at least some resistance here at that $50 area. Now it's 50.50, excuse me, 50.81. And going, this thing is just on that good stuff. And it's not as wide of a spread as it was earlier at the 46, 47s when I was watching this one. It's tightened up a little bit, 30 pennies. Right now, 73 on the bid, 42 on the ask. It's still obviously wide, but it's nice to see it clear that $50 area. The 10 exponential here is at 48.50. So we're about $2 removed away from the 10 exponential. Be on the lookout for this one. If you guys don't mind, NEGG could be one that you look out, because right now, there's really nothing in small cap gapper world that I like anyway. And we'll just have a look here at the side charts. It's really this one that's making higher highs and higher lows. Everything else is having trouble. ARCON obviously not in our system, so we'll have to wait on that one. But that also has a topping tilt into 645, and it's about 5.5 right now. SGD's got higher lows. So I did get out of this one. I got out at 55s, so I don't feel too bad because it hasn't been able to clear that level. It's a triple top here, at least since 11:55, so going on now almost 45 minutes of rejections at $1.55. But look at the opposite side of that. This was setting up for flat top break with an ascending wedge pattern forming with 155 being the top end of that range, and you've got higher lows on two successive troughs. The one that pulls in to the volume weighted average price held up there on a closing basis, and then the one that pulled in to about that 20 EMA. All the while that 155 seller remains there. So, you know, buyers could be accumulating here and then end up blowing them out. So what I'll be doing is looking to pick this up on higher lows. So if my thesis here is an ascending wedge break, at least locally over here, then it probably behooves me to pick this up at a higher level than the double bottom that we have at 138. Now, it's all about being strategic. I'll probably wait it around 142 to 130. You know, I may or may not get the fill. It may make its way down there, it may not. So SGD, let's go back into this one and see if we can post up a trade at that 142 level. Let's go ahead and post there, and I'm gonna wait out 143. Maybe we'll front run it just a little bit and then get maybe more into VWAP if it does keep selling off. So SGD trying to work my way back into this one, but there's really nothing right now, guys, that I like. Rappel is trying to make a higher low, but still below VWAP. I'm gonna give this one a chance. It's certainly got to get above 375. There's a quadruple top, essentially from 1210 to 1225 at 375 on our EPL. Couldn't shake the sellers there, but you do have a higher low. So this area over here came into about 353. This one into about 363. It will have to maintain that higher low, flat top situation for me to get involved. If it makes a lower low below this 355, then the trend is just not there, and I'm seeing what I want. Moreover, it is possibly setting up here for a head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder ahead, right shoulder forming. You will know if you get a decisive break of that 355, and then you can take the measuring move from the top of the head down to the back, down to the body, and then project that downwards. We've done lessons on that before. If you haven't watched any of those lessons, just type head and shoulders measured move into Google or chat or whatever, and it'll give you a super quick explanation. So I'm keeping my eye on Rappel just in case it can take out that 375 seller. Obviously, ARCON back into $6, but we'll still wait on that one. And then last but not least, I've got a dip trade here on SGD in the low 40s for a possible entry, and then neg 581, rejecting 50 for now, so we'll see if that $50 area ends up being price action resistance on NEGG.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to volume leaders here, Novo Nordisk, still nothing too crazy. Sharif, this one, again, a little bit of a push below multi-year lows. I don't know if you were looking at this one in the morning. Novo Nordisk.
Oh,
right?
yes, I did
so
see that.
we haven't seen these prices since 2022. Talk about people being offside. It's sure a fundamental change due to their. I think something along the lines of pulling the guidance and showing that their GLP-1s are not selling as much. But look at this. Sure, that's a fundamental change all the way down here with strong volume.
Absolutely.
But guess what? Technically speaking, sellers got in charge. Let me draw the line. Sellers were in charge, I guess, right here at 120s.
Right.
So the question becomes, if you're like, okay, fundamentals, I'm getting short down here, you're chasing the move all the way at the lows, whereas sure, there might not have been a strong catalyst here, but the technicals broke right here and told you that, sure, maybe buyers are done buying, and this is just follow through and confirmation. So that's the thing. A lot of what I'm realizing now in my trading is like, do I really want to wait for confirmation? Because confirmation, I honestly am starting to think there is not a lot of edge in waiting for confirmation because everybody's waiting for confirmation. It's so crowded.
Well said.
Right? So you have to step in front of that. You have to be like, so what I'm starting to do is like, I'm starting to get involved with ideas that I like relative to price action and the chart, and then waiting for that confirmation to see if it follows through and then use that as an adding point to the trade.
Interesting.
Right? So I don't know, chime in on this, guys. Do you think that waiting for confirmation?
I got a follow-up question. So if you're getting in ahead of confirmation, obviously you're practicing sound risk management. That goes without saying. You always do. So where would your, so let's take this chart here as a perfect example.
Sure.
So you get in on, where do you get in here, Obe? Are you getting in on the right shoulder?
So maybe, if you want to get in on a shoulder, that's all the way up here at the stop above the high. That's 150 as well. Great confluence, right? But here, I can be like, if you still want to wait for quote unquote confirmation, this is the break of trend. This pop back up and failure to follow through back through, that's your confirmation.
Bang.
Right there. So getting short here, or regardless of getting short or getting long, that is a strong reason to sell.
Well said.
Right? So if you just boil it down to just simple aspects of strong reasons to buy and reasons to sell, regardless of whether you're long or short, that can give you a lot of information and keep you unbiased.
I like it, Obe.
Right? So right here, strong reason to sell, confirmation, we're pulling back all the way into 2022 consolidation lows. Those are at $44, all the way from 146.
Nuts,
right? Currently trading at 53. So a little bit of a practical example right there in front of us on Novo Nordisk. What's up, Adara?
Just want to let you guys know here, we have more commentary coming from the U.S.-China negotiations. As I mentioned earlier, usually we do get some talks after the fact. So we do have U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying that, the U.S. is likely to meet with China again in roughly 90 days. He also mentioned here that if Trump does not approve this tariff pause extension that the negotiators work towards, it's very likely that tariffs on Chinese goods would, quote, boomerang back to April 2nd levels or another level that he chooses. To be clear, we had tariffs above 100% on China on Liberation Day, April 2nd. So certainly could be an interesting look here for this market. Again, just to remind you guys, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying that if Trump doesn't approve the terms that the U.S. and China negotiation teams came to, we could have a massive tariff push back to the upside for China. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dara.
See, your boy JT's moving on with his life, eh?
Oh boy, you just showed me that. Is it? Oh yeah, he did get divorced, right?
Divorced, and she's already moved on. She's dating. So we're talking about Justin Trudeau, the former Prime Minister of Canada. He's no longer the Prime Minister. He's never want to take pleasure in this. Obviously, he was divorced last year, and she moved on, his wife, pretty quickly.
On to the next.
And now, your boy JT may have also moved on, but with a big name. Does anybody know a name or a person by the name of Katy Perry? Does that ring a bell to you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh no, JT. No, you didn't, JT, not Katy Perry. Oh my God. I don't even know where they were spotted, but this is being reported by CTV News too. So this ain't just Six Buzz here reporting it. I'm happy for the guy. Let the man live. I'm not hating on him.
I thought it was another thing moment. What's that? Recently, the debacle. that they got caught at a concert. That couple.
Oh, goodness,
what's the name of the
astronomer guy?
Astronomer. Yeah, the
boy.
astronomer employees. And I was like, oh, is he? And
He's
I was like,
suing
wait,
now.
no.
You heard
Trudeau
about
is
him
divorced.
suing Coldplay now for
what? Pointing a camera at them?
Emotional damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Well, yeah,
right?
exactly. Play stupid games.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah,
I mean,
take them up.
here's the thing. If you're going to take the risk, you better get ready to get stopped out.
Oh,
Right? If you're gonna take the risk, you have to be like, all right, if I'm gonna get stopped out, I'm getting stopped out. You've taken the trade, accept the results, right?
Yes,
Exactly. And you never know. The market's volatile. You never know what'll hit you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to make a pun with one of her songs, but nothing's coming to mind at the moment.
Yeah.
But yes. Taylor Jigger. You're going to have to reach out to Trade Ideas yourself, brother, but double check with them. I'm pretty sure they can make exceptions for that 25% off if you're still looking to do it. Double check with them. Just shoot them an email directly. I think they're pretty responsive, Taylor. So thank you for pointing that out, but just double check with the company. So as I mentioned, guys, I'm back in here to SGD. We're already scalped up a little bit. What I'm trying to pick up is the higher lows, right? So M Butter 10, attaboy. All right. Hey, Minnesota Trader had the same idea. Bang. All right. I like that. No, I'm not going to read them out, but they're funny. Yeah, I should have been more alive to that, but I'm not that good. Full disclosure. So look, we're long here, SGD again at this level. Anything below my entry there, we'll call it quits. So we already wet the beak a couple of times, layering orders into that 50 penny area. I'm really hoping here, guys, for a flat top break. Okay, hoping is the wrong word. What I'm in this trade for is the higher lows with that flat top. I perceive that flat top to be about $1.55. Whether or not we make lower lows, that's still to be determined. So I kind of misspoke there. I gotta give this to at least $1.3736, and here's why I say that. So I perceive the higher low. Come on. I perceive the higher low here on SGD to be these three candles. And the low of those candles is 138, 137. So I gotta give it to prior area low. So this is the area low, higher low, and now we're currently also in a higher low. So if we lose this area, then my trade is wrong because I'm looking for an ascending wedge. It might end up breaking through 155, but not for the reasons that I've articulated. So that's what I'm gonna do. Loses 137, we're gone. Otherwise, we're going to try to hold a piece for that 155 break. Whether or not we get it, we'll see. Wow, ARCON. Oh, my goodness. There it goes. Oh, no two bull flags are created equal. Sometimes they'll have 15 minutes worth of consolidation. Sometimes it'll be half a day. The point is to be on the lookout. There goes ARCON. Here comes 7. In fact, sorry, 7's already got cleared. I couldn't see it on the white chart. 716 high a day. Now, we got the first bull flag over here at 1155, and there's your consolidation, the flag component, and there's the break above the area high. We can say $6 was the breakout level because we couldn't close anything above 6 until this current candle right now at 1240, and there's 7 again. It's a 716 high. ARCON, baby. Let's see if it's open to us to trade right now. No, still blocked here on ARCON. Yeah, that's okay, Ob. But we're taking prints on SGD. Look at SGD go. We take out all the prints and into 160, man. I didn't have anything layered above 155 because I'm an idiot. I didn't think that we were going to get the flat top break that quickly. Go, SGD, go. We got it on right here from 43s. It's showing me 55s. Now let's wet the beak here at 55, and then we'll also set up north of 60. Now that we know that the high of the day can get breached, let's post up there and see what we can get. So that's my look there. Anonymous, ARCON, no probs, bud. As a trader, I sometimes go with the movers, even if it's a junk. Wish this con will make HKD kind of moves in 2022. Those were good days, man. I'll never forget a trader here on the floor. I won't say his name. I mean, he was trying to get permissions from Greg to trade HKD, and it was a $200 spread, and his shutdown is obviously his shutdown, which was not $200 at the time, Ob. And obviously, he didn't get the authorization to trade HKD. Needless to say, though, he didn't spend that much time on the floor. He didn't. He was let go.
A little bit of push. I think it might have been HKD or one of some of the other crazy runners. I remember asking for borrows, and I think it was like $200 something for the borrow. And then Neil and I saw that a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, where the borrows for what stock was that? Do you remember? Another one that was almost $200 a lot. That's absolutely crazy. But here's the thing, Sharif. When the demand for the shorts is that high, you got to ask yourself, with the way the stock is moving around, can I make $2 per share?
Bang.
Am I looking for more? That's just the cost of business.
That's the cost of business.
So if you trust yourself and you trust the playbook that you have, and you're like, that is more than within range of what the move I'm trying to capture, it's like, sure, $2 per share is the cost. I'm looking for a $5 to $7 move. That's well within range of what I'm trying to do, right? So it's like, sometimes the price of the borrows and even the changing price of the borrows can be a little bit of an indicator. That's why you'll find me always asking, being like, okay, what's the price now for the borrows? What's the price now? I'll ask in the morning and I'll be like, okay, maybe sometimes I'll ask midday to end of day, seeing how the prices change and maybe giving me a little bit of confluence with the trade or the idea or the thesis.
We did a lesson on this for short interest as well, to keep an eye on the short interest as the cost of borrows, the amount of shares shortable. Like, look, you see, I have columns here, not in this one, but I can see the amount of shortable shares my platform has for any one ticker. And you can monitor that and you can graph that. So you can see it on the graph. Or are we putting higher highs? Are we putting lower lows? You see what I'm saying? So I completely agree with you with respect to monitoring that. You can kind of get a bit of an advanced look as to what the market's thinking without actually seeing it. So good call out. Guys, ARCON is still hanging out here. Even though it's a 716 high, I would submit to you, we are now possibly forming bull flag number 2. As you saw, we had a decent range for the first one. It looked to be basically 6 to the high side and about 5.5 to the low side. I'm taking the mean point there because it did get into 540s. So you had about a 60 to 50 penny worth of range for the flag. And that's on the average. That's not the extreme limits. It was higher than that on the extremes. I'm just taking the average support and resistance during that range. So keep your eye on this one. ARCON's all the rave right now. It's up 125%. The volume supports that thesis. 18 million shares in. And this one only just started trading basically bigly here at 12 o'clock. It didn't trade in the pre-market, so we're only about 45 minutes deep with respect to this one. So trade it carefully, guys. Make sure that you're trading it so that you have an account to trade tomorrow. Don't get too crazy in there. All right, guys, tag me if there's anything else here that's moving, because it's a little bit of a light day for these small cap gappers, which is okay. We can trade the light days as well as the good days as well. Sharpen that sword so that when time comes, you're ready to go. What do you got over there, Ob? Any ideas?
Yeah, again, I'm still watching this market, trying to catch a bid. Right, okay. I did get a little short on AMD, getting stopped out as it's just chopping sideways. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait around and see what AMD does. But guys, Beta Pro by Global X. So shout out to all the savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure. They can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs, featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders, ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. So check out those guys if you guys are interested, for all you savvy Canadian traders. AMD, let's see, VWAP is all the way at 178.79. We're currently trading at 178.15. So a little bit of a downtrend coming in off of VWAP here, a little bit of a push lower. I'm just curious to see whether or not we make it much lower, or do we revert a little bit to VWAP. So again, going to take a little bit of a stab here and maybe giving it a risk to prior structure. and see if that one potentially comes in. Again, not my strongest playbook trade, so I'm not giving it any sort of aggressive sizing, but let's see if that can potentially come in. Again, VWAP coming in at 178.79. The market is attempting to bounce, but you can see the spider here not really bouncing as nicely. I'm taking a look at this right here. Let's go to the 1 minute chart. You can see relative to VWAP, pretty extended off of VWAP and a bit of a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. Sure, day low coming in at 634.69, but still
69?
trading nice.
Excellent.
Still trading within that range of this strong leg that we attempt to push. So it's like, all right, sellers, 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 sellers. Buyers come back in. We attempt a bit of a push. Maybe we revert about 25 to 30% of the action to the downside. Nice. Didn't really get that 50% reversion that I like to look for just yet, but we still haven't violated the day low, right? But if we continue to make lower highs and lower lows, I'm looking for a continuation here on said market. So that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Nubian King saying short the pops, OB. Yeah, for sure. I like that. I like that concept, shorting the pops, waiting for some pops to short. That's what I'm waiting for. And it seems like AMD might be doing a little bit of a pop into towards a VWAP as of right now. So continuing to watch that one. Let me know what you guys are trading right now during the midday. It's about 12:51 here, so just past that lunch hour. I know we were going through some of these volume leaders. AMD definitely part of that list, coming in at fifth place. Fifth place in terms of top volume leaders. So currently on the day, it's done about 75 million shares. 57 million is the average 30-day volume, Sharif. And we talked about a little focusing on stocks that are doing distinctly different things relative to their sector. We'll continue on that right after we get back from Madera.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know about SailPoint SAIL. Sharif, this might be your kind of ticker. It's not really a small cap. It has about $11.35 billion market cap, but it is moving much like a small cap. It's about a now almost a $22 stock. I don't have any news on it, but as I mentioned, not really a small cap. 11.4% short float though, and a parabolic mover. If I get a catalyst, I'll let you know. I also want to remind you guys at 1 p.m. today, so in just a handful of minutes now, we will be getting the 7-year high yield auction. So again, 7-year note auction. I will be covering that for you guys if there's anything of note. I'm also seeing commentary from the CEO of Royal Caribbean, RCL, one of many earnings names today, apparently saying that there's potential for more outperformance in the second half of the fiscal year. So some bullish and optimistic comments here coming from the CEO of Royal Caribbean. Keep an eye here on SAIL. Back to you.
All right, Neil bringing to my attention a ticker called PTHL, Pheton Holdings. It's been halted since this down move right here, 1225. It's 1252. Yes, the reason I'm showing you this is not that I really am looking to trade it. It halted down, Neil, at the last print that came in 2784. Okay, this is a D print that came in 2 minutes after the halt. That doesn't count. 2784. Have a look over here, guys. You guys know what that is right there, because we're always looking at this for my small cap gappers. That's the top, the theoretical auction price. It's showing $3, Ob.
Yeah.
You know what the halt price was? 2784.
Oh boy.
So
shout out to anybody who punched in short on that news.
Yeah, and the reason is, I mean, there's very little liquidity on this, so be careful. If you're involved in this, I don't know why you would be, but yeah, just be on the lookout. PTHL halted the downside quite aggressively here. Here we go. I'm back into STAI because this one broke trend, and now I'm waiting at 29s. It's showing me 29s. Let's see if we can get some continuity and get the fill. I'm waiting here. It's taking size off. There it is. Now it's 30s. Show me 30s. Let's see if we can get a squeeze here on STAI. I actually have an order as well to add onto the volume weighted average price. So this broke trend. It had higher lows, but we know that this one was at $1.54. So the bag holders will be present from here until that high of the day, or at least $1.50. I mean, no real candles closed above that $1.50 area. In fact, the highest closing candle today, about $1.46. STAI, it was over 100% at the highs. It's back above VWAP with higher lows. Let's see if this one can continue. I do, as I mentioned, attention, have a resting order at the volume weighted average price to add into this one. So let's see what we get here on STAI. ARCON just lost VWAP. It's at VWAP right now. So this continuation here didn't end up being the second bull flag. What it ended up being was a V-shaped or an upside down V, as we call it on these in this floor, the Christmas tree retracement. One side green, one side red, and a bit of an upside down V pattern. So this one's got a bottoming tail in the 5 1/3. It's trying to work its way back above 5 3/4, but this one is in a bit of trouble right now. ARCON, it's got to hold above VWAP. Let's see what it does. 716 high, trading at 576. So we won't be able to punch into this one on our system. Let's find out. It's unblocked. No, still blocked on our system, so we'll have to continue to wait. Up 93%, and definitely looking for more, but it's going to have to hold at that key technical level. Let's flip back to STAI. 1 penny out of the money as it's showing me 26s on this one. I'm looking to add and pick up higher lows here, maybe for a squeeze into that third, and if I'm really lucky, that $0.50. So we'll add into that 120 area if that gets filled. NEG as well, don't forget about this one. It's still kind of holding technical levels. It's at and holding the 10 EMA on the 5 at around 49.16. It's a 50.81 high. Be on the lookout for a hold here of the 10. And then what I would say specifically look for here on NEG is the first 5-minute candle to make a new high on a closing basis. You haven't seen that. It's been all lower highs since 12:30, and it hasn't broken trend. So be on the lookout for that. I would say wait until you get that confirmation that the trend has changed and then work your way in. That would be my move. Otherwise, stay away from it. It's around 1 o'clock. Obi, you have anything before I start doing the news?
I'm just a Fibonacci trader in the chat saying, let's go Google. So I looked at Google and oh boy,
what happened?
Google is blasting to the upside. Continuation. We talk about flat top breaks and flag breakouts right here. Look at this, building into that 193, 194 area with higher lows and relatively, sure, it's not perfectly flat. It's not ideally flat, but when it does break out, pull back, look at the volume confirmation, Sharif, that comes in on the breakout of this flag. So again, more confirmation that people might be trading some of these technicals with that volume bar coming in as one of, actually it's the highest bar on the day, even higher than the opening print at, if you guys want to look, the 1 minute bar on the, let me just zoom in, 1147 candle. So 1 minute bar on the 1147 candle I have here as the highest volume traded in a given 1 minute candle on Google, and that's on the breakout of the flag. And take a look at this confirmation that comes in on the pullback into that resistance turned into support at that 193.70s and a strong push back up into 195s. So yeah, strong push on Google here. I'm waiting, I'm watching, and I'm stalking this one for a potential reversion. But if buyers are going to continue to show me that they're here and they are very much involved, I'm going to stay a little bit off. Again, this is strong confirmation. It continues to step up. Structure is holding higher, and Google is pushing to the upside. We already broke prior day's high. That's week high, don't forget. And the week maybe catching a little bit of a wick low relative to prior day's action. You can see here what I mean when I go to the weekly chart. Let's take off some of these indicators so we don't get really messy, but look at that right there. Bottom wick on the week and pushing some fresh highs as well. Bit of a continuation, more of the same since April as we've been bidding up. We've only had 1, 2, 3, 4 red weeks amongst a total
It's been a great recovery.
16.
Yeah, and it was never fair to this company. I don't always, I never really understand why this company gets flack. It's just for being the master or jack of all trades. Yeah. You know, the old expression goes, jack of all trades, master of none. But like, can you really say that they're not masters of the areas that they enter, and they're pretty good at everything, dude?
Yeah, I mean
the only thing that you have to concern yourself with, and reasonably so, is search. It's a wild card at the moment, but they seem to be adapting.
I mean, I know that saying very, very well.
Yeah.
I think reality is not necessarily reflective of that in a sense, because you can start off being the jack of all trades and you have abilities to do a little bit of everything, but then you can really focus on what's actually working.
Or
right?
just be big enough to be good at everything because you have enough money to hire the best people. And
sure, yeah, you can do it that way as well.
Right?
But
You know what I
Google
mean?
specializes in a few things. But yeah, they're involved in a lot of different.
They got their
things,
hands
right?
in so many.
Most of
cookie
their
jars.
money comes from a few different things.
Fair.
So that distribution's always going to be there.
fair.
Sure, you can be the jack of all trades, but that doesn't mean you can't be the master of some of them.
Bang.
Right? So I think that's important to focus on. I know it's a catchy saying and a lot of people say it, but guess what? Reality is usually a lot different than most people's perception.
That's fair. All right, let's get to the news, guys. We'll start off here. There's a lot to cover today because obviously we're in the midst of earnings season. Let's talk about Novo Nordisk with them. Where are they at right now, man? Are they still tanking? Let's find out over here. Where's Novo at? We're down 21.25%, so it's a bit of a tougher look. They reported, like a lot of these ones are actually decent headlines here to start anyway, and then it gets kind of sour. They reported 18% sales growth and 29% operating profit growth at constant exchange rates, okay, for the first half of this year. The growth was boosted by adjustments from prior years, including a $3 billion Danish kroner or 3 billion Danish kroner net sales revision, and a 2024 Q2 impairment reversal. But that's where the good news ends. Now, here are the cuts. Novo cut its 2025 sales growth guidance by 8 to 14. That's down from prior expectations, as well as their operating profit growth. It's now expected to be in the range of 10 to 16%. So we'll keep eyes on that. Now, Wegovy, Ozempic, some of their biggest money makers here. Lower guidance. Why? Driven by smaller growth in Wegovy for obesity and Ozempic in the U.S. diabetes market, the GLP-1 market. Wegovy uptake internationally as well has also missed expectations, so it wasn't just a domestic issue with the U.S., it's an international problem. They go on to say that growth headwinds include competition, pricing, and the increased compounding of these GLP-1s. I made the point very clear that these compounding pharmacies in the States were allowed to actually compound these GLP-1s so long as the manufacturer, the originating manufacturer, couldn't make the product themselves because of back order to some of the supplies. So they get the go-ahead from the FDA. That go-ahead is terminated once the supply chain is back in order and the originating manufacturer can produce it. However, that hasn't stopped the pharmacies from continuing to do this. And that's precipitated a lot of litigation, both by Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, to stop all these different local pharmacies from producing that. But you can imagine it becomes a bit of an issue there where you have to go off all these different people. Now, following the May 2025 expiry of the FDA's compounding grace period, unauthorized compounds persist, basically what I just said. The company is actively pursuing litigation and regulatory lobbying to halt the illegal compounding. So obviously that has not worked well for them, and their full first half results are going to be released on August 6th, so we'll get a bigger or a better, clearer picture once that comes out. I know you went over it, but any comment about what I just said there with respect to Novo?
I think Novo, like I was looking at that push down a little bit lower, right? So let's take a look at the chart. So because I did have this Novo Nordisk, so in my morning plan I had, okay, gap down on pulling guidance, GLP-1 sales significantly down, look for continuation below pre-market structure lows for the trade, right? And of course I have other execution sets that I want to apply to that idea as well. So let's take a quick look at this one. I already talked about, we haven't seen these prices since 2022, Sharif. And it opened up as SSR. So if you guys have been here for a little bit, you know that sometimes I like to look at SSR stocks that open below multi-year, multi-month lows, looking for people that are hitting the bid. Because you know why? What is the SSR mechanic? You cannot hit the bid unless you're already holding inventory.
Exactly.
So if it opens up SSR and I see people hitting the bid, guess who's selling?
Guess.
People who have already been holding the stock.
Boom.
So I want to see if sellers are in charge, but guess what? It didn't show me any of that.
No.
I didn't take a single fill on this stock because it didn't show me exactly what I wanted to see. So
In fact,
yeah, a
putting
little
in lower
bit.
highs too, even on that pullback.
Yeah,
there.
so it's just consolidating around VWAP. So maybe not yet is what I'm thinking. What I want to do right away is throw on that anchored VWAP. And we saw a higher time frame. It's already been trending down. A lot of selling has already happened. We're coming into consolidation lows from 2022.
Right.
So it's not that people maybe have not been selling. People have been selling for the past few months.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Is this the capitulation now? That's the question that I'm asking. And let's see what we do with this range. Are we going to continue even lower? But yeah, strong reaction off of the news in the pre-market, but a lackluster, I guess, movement or momentum or anything like that off of the open, just consolidating sideways. So that's what I have on Novo Nordisk.
All right, we're going to cover SoFi next. We're going to go to Adair for a moment.
Keep an eye on AXGN. This one moving in a pretty volatile way. This is Axogen. Hearing a report that they're apparently exploring a sale. I also want to let you guys know we did get that 7-year auction coming in at 4.092% for the high yield versus 4.118% right before the auction. So again, getting this high yield a little bit lower than it was prior to the auction. So yeah, keep an eye here on this market and AXGN. Back to the guys and SoFi talk.
We're talking about
no, I'm not talking about Katie
JT
Pierre.
and KP. JT and KP, the new relationship. That may be
Keeping the uprising the Katina man, but he already knew about it.
yeah.
So
JT KP.
and she, yeah, KP.
Are you long JT KP? That's the real question. Are you long or short?
Is there a ticker
JTKP?
called JTKP? I want to know right now. And visit up on the day JTKP. Show yourself. Oh,
Not on the nice ear of the DAC.
nothing. It didn't even suggest anything overseas. And you know we have access to all of them. All right, let's talk a little SoFi over here, surging on a blowout quarter and upbeat outlook. Where's it at right now? Let's find out what the SoFi one is doing. 13 1/3. Oh baby. And this is probably why adjusted EPS of 8 pennies beating the street consensus of 6 on revenue that surged 44% year over year up to 858 million. So they're just shy of that billion revenue. The highest revenue growth for SoFi in over 2 years with 29% adjusted EBITDA margins. And you're going to see it everywhere they do business. Lending up 32%. Tech platform up 15%. Financial services,
Oh boy.
106% year over year growth up to $303 million. Oh baby. Fantastic look there for SoFi. And the guide, even more impressive. Full year revenue outlook raised nicely here. 3.375 billion up to 3.31. How does that even make sense there? That range doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Up from 3.23 to 3.31, so increasing the guide. And look at STAI go, baby. There it is. We're waiting now at 35s. Let this one cook. Seller at 34s. Run for your life, seller. You're going to get blown out, bro. Adjusted EBITDA guided to 960 million above the previous guide of 875 to 895. So a good look there, Assassino. On full year adjusted EPS forecast, that was boosted as well. On top, even higher than the range they had prior. So 31 pennies is what they're guiding now. They had previously guided 27 to 28 pennies. So beating that range and then some. Memberships added nicely here. 850,000 new members, bringing the total now to about 11.7. And that's a 50% increase year over year on the quarter. We're going to talk about why. Loan originations rose 64%. Up to 8.1 billion, with home loans up 92% to 799 million. Now, let's pause for a second. Loan originations, I was reading off camera that a lot of people are refinancing higher credit card debt in the 20s and I think even the high 20s. And obviously, SoFi allows you to refi that at lower rates. A lot of people are doing that with their student loans as well. You recall the Biden era student loan forgiveness program. It is all over. Donald Trump not continuing with that. So you're going to see a lot more people refiing their outstanding student loans, home loans as well. They're getting into that business. So not a bad look. Now they're also expanding into the AI space. Well, how are they doing it? Well, they're using it for fraud prevention, also for dispute resolution as well as compliance amongst on their platform. And the company is also testing AI and chatbots and the customer service features. We've been hearing a lot more about this. Agentic AI, Obi, going to be a thing here. And SoFi definitely looking at, throwing their hat into the ring. We're going to pause here for a sec, send it to Adair.
Look for Apple, AAPL dropping, apparently, or seeing a report here, they're losing yet another AI researcher to Meta. Meta is continuing to poach AI researchers from other companies at a rapid velocity. Right now, again, according to this report, Apple losing another AI researcher to Meta's aggressive approach, though I am not seeing who this individual is as of right now. Of course, if I get more details, I'll let you guys know. Back to you.
Look at the technicals, though.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I was just telling Sharif, this is a great example. We've been having this conversation earlier about using fundamentals and technicals. Fundamentally, Sharif just showed us very strong earnings report.
Yes, sir.
Very strong guidance as well, right? So it's just like, all right, cool. Off of the open, aggressive push right off of the open. But guess what? I did a little bit of charting this morning, if I do say so myself. 15-minute chart. These green lines right here were a little bit of resistance. This was, I guess, resistance turned support in the pre-market. So let's take a quick look at those levels. 24.95 I have, 24.65, and then 22.74 on the lower end.
Okay.
So in the pre-market session, you already see through the earnings push, we already kind of sustained that prior high at 22.74. Let's go back, let's go to a 30-minute chart and take a look. This is what I'm talking about, Sharif, right here.
Sir.
So this wick high from Friday, July the 18th was that most local recent high. And we held that resistance, turned into support, and that could give you a little bit of confluence for the push even higher. Now, taking a look at the prior highs, let's go to a higher time frame right here. Let's go maybe to a 3-hour. Actually, that doesn't even work. Let's go to a daily. Let's see if that works. Right here, Sharif, these prior highs on SoFi all the way from 2021 and 2021.
Oh boy.
Points of resistance. Look at the aggressive selling that came in. There was definitely supply here a few years ago. And pretty much, I'm sure, bags that have been holding SoFi since its IPO, since this chop, coming back to this price, maybe a little bit of selling. I don't know until it actually comes in, but take a look at the intraday price action. I also had this 28.26 as the all-time high that did push, but you can see that it didn't really come in today. So going back down to a shorter time frame, you can see how those technical levels came into play on a very strong fundamental move right off of the open. So a little bit of both happening on SoFi today.
Go ahead, Adair.
I just want to mention I have some more details here in the Apple story. So again, it was reported that an AI researcher yet again has left Apple and been poached by Meta. We got the name of this individual. His name is Boeing Zhang. I looked into it on LinkedIn. He's got quite the pedigree, mostly for Mag 7 companies. Again, most recently he was at Apple where he served as an AR and VR software engineer, apparently mostly working on their Vision Pro. But prior to that, he spent just over a year at Microsoft and then another roughly a year at Amazon. So he's gone from Mag 7 company to Mag 7 company. Looks like Meta will be his fourth if this report is true. Again, some more details here on this individual who's apparently being poached by Meta from Apple. Back to you.
On to UnitedHealth. Big miss today with EPS guidance. Where's UNHL? Let's find out where we're talking about right now. Down still 4 3/4, but at least off the lows. So it was a 2025 EPS guidance of around $16. That's well below what Wall Street was expecting. The low end of the range by Wall Street was about $21, just shy of that, $20.91. So a marked miss there, no question about it. Full year revenue guidance now guiding 455 to 448. Again, missing consensus estimates of 449.16. Management expects, though, earnings growth to resume into 2026. Didn't really give much in the way of an explanation as to why. I told you to run for your life, seller at STI. I tried to warn you. They took you out and they're taking your money. Into that level we go. 138 high. I'm actually waiting at 138, but it didn't actually print because it didn't cross. So we'll pack our patience and see if we can get that move into that 140 area. Some of the reasons they're not making money are elevated costs, which are hurting margins here. The insurance unit's medical care ratio, MCR for short, hit about 89.4%. That's up from 85.1 year over year. Well, what is MCR? What the hell does that have to do with earnings? It means the company paid more in medical costs than they expected to get in premiums. So a bit of a negative offset there. So keep your eye on that. Mixed Q2 results as well. Revenue beat slightly at about 111.62 billion, beating the 111.52 expected by the street. It was up a healthy 12% year over year. The adjusted EPS, though, did miss at 408. The street was looking for 448. So a bit of a miss there. Net income as well dropped substantially, almost $1 billion, about $800 million drop year over year. 341 was what they printed this year. Last year on the quarter was about 4.22 billion in net income, which obviously reflects the cost pressure. Let's talk about their different segments because they have a lot. So the UnitedHealth Care revenue grew 17%. Healthy, 86.1 billion. That beat expectations. Their Optum, RX revenue surged 19% up to 38.46. Their Optum Health revenue, though, fell 7% year over year, down now to about 25.21 billion, which is raising concerns. And their total Optum unit guided about 265 to 266 billion in 2025 revenue. No comps there. The company is also under a Department of Justice investigation for their Medicare billing practices. It was the first report under the new CEO, Stephen Helmsley, following the CEO Thompson's murder and public backlash. The stock is also down about 44% year to date, really by guidance cuts, obviously DOJ scrutiny, and the cyber attack earlier in 2024. So UNH continuing to take a hit here. And as I've mentioned on the show, I have a buddy who runs a hedge fund. He's not running it. He's part of it. They have about 15 billion AUM. Nice. And he is one of his areas of responsibility is healthcare. Mm-hmm. And they took the biggest position they've taken on UNH. So it's been a very, very tough year for him as of late. And like sometimes...
when do they take that?
Higher up, Ob.
Oh, yeah. Boy.
So
talk about
maybe
big players being offside. You know what I mean? That's absolutely crazy.
And so it's a tougher
now
look.
Imagine if they unloaded the position. That's the question, right?
Because my understanding is
what's your risk limit? Because if you're up from the highs, UNH pretty much sideways consolidation throughout 2022, 2023, and 2024 was relatively the same. We held a range of like 550s. Sure, we got up to 625s, but a base of 435. So maybe $100, $150 range on UNH. And yeah, you get that aggressive sell-off. And I have that anchored VWAP, Sharif, as well off of the event. Right? So going down to a shorter time frame, let's just go to like a 3 hour right here. So an hourly, so we can encapsulate a lot of the information here. You can see that UNH sellers are still very much in charge on this name, and it very much. Excuse me, and it makes sense because we were all the way 500s, and all of a sudden within a day, you're down to 450s. Within a couple of months, you're down to 300s. Within another few days, you're down to 250. So almost a 50 to 70% shave off of those highs. So absolutely aggressive. And this is where looking back and getting a bigger picture and using indicators that might give you a perspective of where players are sitting really helps out. Now again, that anchored VWAP off of the event kind of gives a good indication as to where the average participant is sitting. The average participant is currently sitting at 310s, right? So it's like, all right, we've held that as resistance. Look at this. One day we attempt to push. And we talk about failure to follow through and false breaks. They happen everywhere. A little bit of a failure to follow through off the anchored. And guess what? Now we're coming in and threatening these lows. That's at 248. So
feels like we're headed there.
Yeah, of course. It's telling us that, okay, sellers are definitely in charge and sellers keep on going. And here's another thing, Sharif. Look at that expanding volume as we push into this low.
That's not what you want to see.
Right? So shout out to all the swing shorts on this one that came in off of the anchored, because that trade is definitely working exactly as the market kind of has been showing us, right, over time. So it's
I'm
just
going to
like,
take a bit of a fundamental approach to this. I
Sure.
feel that there's a couple of reasons. You have an aging baby boomer generation who's utilizing the healthcare system a lot more. That's one side of the obvious. And then the other side is you have a marked push now within the U.S. government to control Medicare costs, and that will not be good for their margins. So those are two headwinds I don't see abating anytime soon. The baby boomer generation is not going to get younger, and I don't think things are going to get cheaper so that they can kind of reach margin expansion again. We'll have to wait and see how they do. Obviously, a lot smarter than people than me work at that company. Let's go on to PayPal with Q2 earnings. Where's PayPal at right now? Let's find out. PYPL. Show yourself, PayPal. We're down. Geez, are we SSR? Yeah, we are SSR. 8.39. We're off the lows. We're down 8 1/3% more. Here's the reason why. Adjusted EPS beat $1.40. The street wanted $1.30. So beat on the bottom line. How about revenue? The top line 8.29, beating the 8.08. So you have a top line, bottom line beat with sales rising 5% year over year. And Alex Chris emphasizing a shift away from low margin streams. You like to hear that, but I want to see it manifest in some money. Now, the transaction margin dollars rose 7%, about $3.84 billion, marking 6 straight quarters of growth for that metric. Total payment volume, $443.6 billion. That beat estimates of $433.6 by $10 billion. Not a bad beat there. And the active accounts climbed 2% year over year, up to 438 million active accounts now for PayPal. Let's talk about their different segments. Venmo being one of those segments who saw a 20% bump in revenue year over year, repeating what Venmo did in Q1. This is Q2 we're talking about. They also had strong performance, so 20% bump. Venmo payment volume rose 12% year over year, the fastest rate it's growth the fastest rate it's grown at since basically the COVID days, the fastest rate in 3 years, according to this article. Let's talk about the guide, Q3, EPS guiding here between $1.18 to $1.22, bracketing the consensus of that $1.20. That's the midpoint. So in line with expectations. Transaction margin dollars expected to rise as well, quarter over quarter by about 3%. That's for Q3 we're talking about. And the full year EPS forecast lifted a little bit, $5.15 to $5.30. Prior guidance had been basically $4.95 to $5.10. So it's not a bad guide. And free cash flow guidance boosted here $6 to $7 billion. Goldman Sachs expects branded checkout to accelerate to about 4 to 6%. And Morgan Stanley noted improved e-commerce trends and advanced integrations at about 45% of U.S. merchants, up from the 30% they had in December. Go ahead, Adair.
Keep an eye here on this market. We do have a press conference right now with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. They're are being asked questions, so just be aware right now, Jamieson Greer being asked about when they expect this tariff pause to end, and they're also being asked about export controls. If there's any answers of note, I'll certainly let you guys know, but I think it's worth noting they are speaking. Back to you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a quick look at PayPal there. PYPL. Yeah, definitely was on watch today.
I didn't see too much wrong with this report. Am I missing something here?
No, I mean,
what did I miss here? The guide is good. The report is good. What am I an idiot? Well, what's the problem with this? I don't get it.
You mean?
And again, maybe I'm just trying to read something that shouldn't be read. But what is the issue with this report? I don't understand what was so bad.
Yeah, I really don't know, and I can't say much on that. But in the pre-market, I was looking at this because it's gapping down.
The Katina man is saying probably some profit taking there because of where it came from. That makes sense.
Yeah. And some things can be sell the news, right? Some of the things they can be like, okay, this is what we were looking for, and now we want to sell because this is what we were looking for.
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
it's a strong stock. It's been doing well, right? And right off of the earnings report, we get that strong quadrunk and lower highs and lower lows. We've only been doing that since the report, right? So anchored VWAP again. Another technical indicator guiding the way and showing us before the open who's in charge. Coming back in, confirmation that anchored VWAP holds.
Look at
right?
that.
And it's a very simple indicator that again it has strong, I guess, not like fundamental value, but like in terms of price action, it's fundamentally sound. in terms of what it indicates,
that, yeah.
right? So it's like, all right, cool. The earnings report is strong, but if there are going to be sellers, that's something that we have to respect, and that's what it's kind of shown us here. Now, that could change in the coming days, right? We could kind of revert this action and continue to push higher time frame. Let's see on the weekly here, you can see that it's been pretty much a choppy range. So even with the selling that we're getting, Sharif, off of the earnings, it's still well within range of this uptrend. Right? So I think Sean's definitely on the nose with this one. Yeah, it could very well be some profit taking because yes, we're selling off,
but we're higher lows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're still within range.
Good call. Fair.
Right? So I think that's something to be wary about.
Good call. Let's talk UPS here, kind of a bellwether, or at least it used to be, for the overall economy. I don't know. I'm starting to feel that FedEx and UPS not really bellwethers anymore, but let's talk about the report. Q2 adjusted EPS came in at $1.55. Down markedly year over year here from the $1.79. The revenue and the profit really kind of declined as a result of U.S. tariffs on low-value Chinese shipments weighed on international volumes. We know exactly what we're talking about there. We're talking about the de minimis rule, sub 800, the Temus, the Sheins, as well as that other Amazon one, whatever it's called. Basically, they came in free of tariffs if they were under $800, and that was doing a lot of volume for your friends there at UPS. Not anymore, according to the company. The removal of the de minimis exemption created a notable headwind for shipment platforms like Temu and Shein, as I just explained. Although the tariffs were reduced, the China-U.S. tariffs, that is, from 120% down to 54% under a trade truce, demand remains weak. According to the company, analysts warn this change disproportionately affects the UPS's U.S.-China lanes, which are among the most profitable. So shipping between U.S. and China for UPS, one of their most profitable shipping routes. And that has obviously taken a hit as a result of this de minimis rule change. That's another interesting consideration there. And for a second consecutive quarter, UPS did not issue updated full-year guidance. The last forecast in January projected about $89 billion in full-year 2025 revenue. Management, by holding back guidance, cited the macroeconomic uncertainty and trade policy risks as reasons for withholding those guidance. Not the first company to do it, Obe. Probably won't be the last. Maybe we're kind of weaning down on that as the tariffs become more in focus and we kind of get a better understanding of what to expect. It seems like, and we don't have a large sample size yet, Obe, but it feels like maybe we're going to get like the baseline of 15%, give or take, around there.
Another earnings name, Sharif, that had aggressive action off of the open.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So, yeah, bit of a miss on their EPS. Revenue was pretty good, but we get that continuation to the downside here. Again, higher time frame. Looking at the weekly on UPS, we've been selling pretty aggressively off of all-time highs. All-time highs being at 201. So yeah, earnings report coming in and giving us more of the same and aggressive selling back down into the lower end of the range. So UPS, I'm definitely going to see if this package gets delivered all the way down to these lows here, 89.08. We're coming into levels and prices we have not seen since early 2020s, and we know there was a lot of volume that got in at 20 in the 2020s. So that's the one. That's the look for UPS. What's up, Adara?
Just keep an eye here on comments from President Donald Trump. It's audio only. He's giggling with the press on Air Force One. Based on his schedule, it's like he's on his way back from Scotland. But either way here, just be aware, Trump making some comments right now, speaking about tensions in the Middle East, so nothing market related. But now we have not only comments from Scott Bessent and Jameson Greer, but also comments from President Trump himself. I will let you guys know if anything market related is being said. Back to you.
Waymo expanding the robo-taxi push now to Dallas, Texas, baby. Shout out to the Cowboys. Hopefully they have a better season this year. Alphabet's Waymo plans to launch its robo-taxi service in Dallas in 2026. No specific date given. It's going to join a growing list of expansion markets, including, Miami's, Washington, D.C., etc. The testing apparently is already underway in downtown Dallas. They're still using that same Jaguar I-Pace electric vehicle. It is obviously equipped with Waymo's Level 4 autonomous system. But here's the deal. They're not doing it on their own. They're partnering with Avis Budget Group to manage its Dallas fleet, marking a strategic pivot for Avis into mobility infrastructure and the fleet ops. Not a bad look there for AVIS. Dallas users will be able to hail Waymo robo-taxis directly using the Waymo app like they are in other markets like San Fran. In other markets, Waymo also integrates, as we know, Uber, allowing for a broader consumer reach depending basically on the city. Waymo operates about 250,000 paid weekly trips in cities like Phoenix, Austin, San Fran, Atlanta, LA. They're everywhere. Shout out to Waymo. Good luck. Just very expensive cars. Margins are still not there. Alphabet confirmed Waymo has surpassed 100 million autonomous miles and is testing in 10 plus cities, including New York City and Philly. I mean, we already kind of glossed over this jack of all trades, master of none. But dude, you know, like from costs aside, because the LiDAR and their system, the way they integrate into the iPace is very expensive, about $250,000 a pop. They are executing quite well. I know you'll look at the technicals, but I just wanted to bring in, you know, some fundamentals into that conversation. I know you were looking at Google bucking the trend, obviously. What's the look right now?
Yeah, no, Google's been pretty strong all day here, but CAR didn't really have either of these stocks, even though I was aware of the news in the morning on my watch list. But yeah, CAR coming in, Avis Group with a little bit of sell. We did get that pop off of the action, but nothing really too crazy happening here, Sharif, on the intraday. But bigger picture, we've been doing pretty well. And yeah, you're right. Nice little curl off of the lows. Look at this aggressive, strong push. All the way from May lows, down from what is that? $54, currently trading at 202. So absolutely crazy run up on this one. It's taken a drive all the way up to these prior highs, 240s as of right now. But yeah, Google looking a little bit, definitely a little bit directional. I don't know how strongly Google is going to move off of this news. Again, we talk about relative difference in terms of market caps and stuff. I think it might be better news for Avis than it is for Google.
It feels that way, right?
And that's what you would think as well. So but we're not really seeing that price action, right?
You're not going to see it on this, especially it's going to open up next year. But I like the move, Hope. I like the move. I like the expansion. They keep opening into other markets, getting first mover advantage. They're doing the right things. Again, I hesitant because of the costs. The costs are super high. We know it's losing money. Let's just go back, and they don't even tell us exactly. They put it under their other bets. So Waymo's revenues are broken under Alphabet's other bets. Q2 revenue rose to about $373 million, but the segment posted a loss, guys, of $1.25 billion, widening year over year. So the profit is not there yet for these Waymo vehicles. It doesn't mean it won't be in the future. Just saying it's not there yet. So keep your eye out on that. Let's go to talk about Royal Caribbean. RCL, man, has been a dang rocket ship. Anybody's been watching this. I think we're coming off all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just look at the weekly. Yeah, $350. We were at all-time highs this week into $355 and change, and last week as well. Getting a bit of a sell today. Where are we at on RCL on the day? We're down 3.25%. Let's talk about the report, though, because it was quite good. And so was the price action. Just look at that RCL chart. They posted Q2 adjusted EPS of $4.38. That beat the street's expectation of $4.09, so beat on the bottom line. Revenue also rose 10% year over year to about $4.54 billion. That one was slightly below, though, but barely. The street was looking for 4.55. They printed 4.54. Not bad. Net income beat. Very good. $1.21 billion. Compare that to last year on the quarter when they took home $854 million. So good look there year over year. If you're looking for that in terms of EPS rather than a dollar figure, $4.41 a share in profit versus $3.11 a share last year. It was also up until at least today, 53% year to date. Now the guide, let's talk about the guide. They raised their full year EPS outlook to $15.41 to $15.55. That's up from the prior range of $14.55 to $15.55. So definitely a bit of a tighter range with the new guide than it was prior. They were guiding $1 worth of range there, with the midpoint basically being 15.48, which aligns with the street's expectations. Q3 EPS now guiding in the range of $5.55 to $5.65 dollars per share. Booking rates have accelerated, they say, since April, especially their last-minute deals, what they call closing in sale categories. Demand remains strong across all their categories and all their itineraries for 2025 and 2026. This thing's down 3.25%. It might be time to buy. Capacity also expected to rise about 5.5% in 2025 and an additional 6% in 2026. Keep in mind, that's compounding, right? 5% this year, 6% next year. That's compounding capacity expansion, which is obviously helping support top-line growth. If their capacity is expanding, they have more ability to take on more revenue. Doesn't mean they make more profit, just means that they increase that top-line number. So good look here on RCL. Ob, any comment?
Yeah, so RCL, I think I don't really trade this one as much. Did have a little bit of a mention in the pre-market, and I was like, all right, not really. It wasn't really doing what I was looking for, even though it did gap down off of the earnings. So again, not really any continuation, but the reversion's coming right back in. We've reverted over, I guess, coming into around 50% of the leg down here, all the way from 320s to 340s. We're coming in from 350s here on the day. So Royal Caribbean, maybe just sailing to the upside, reverting that move, and yeah, didn't really have any strong opinions or any look on this one today.
No worries. Let's go on to the deal now between the two rail companies. Assassino, Norfolk Southern and Union Pacific are going to merge. The first transcontinental railroad apparently in the works. Let's talk about it. So Norfolk Southern and Union Pacific announced plans to merge, forming America's first transcontinental railroad. That is in quotes. That's not me saying it. The deal values Norfolk Southern at about $320 a share, and shareholders of Norfolk Southern will receive 1 share of Union Pacific and $88.82 in cash, obviously, per share. Good look there. The implied value of the deal means it's about $318, but Norfolk trades around $277. Well, it was at the time, suggesting basically a 13% deal risk spread. You're into these buyouts, you'll know what that means. Regulatory risk still in play, though. So the merger must pass the Surface Transportation Board review, with filing expected within 6 months. So they haven't gotten regulatory clearance quite yet. From my understanding, only one Class 1 rail merger has actually occurred since the beginning of this millennium, 2000, Canadian Pacific's 2023 acquisition of Kansas City Southern. So that just happened. So we're seeing more consolidation, I feel, in railroads, which may not be a bad thing. More consolidation, more expansion, more money together. Maybe we see a bit of a better rail system here. Ob, any comment about this? I know this is not really, not really your thing here, but it's just a stupid buyout that is not even approved yet.
What was the stock?
Norfolk Southern. And
what's the ticker?
Norfolk. I know Union Pacific is UNP. UPN, excuse me.
Is that
or UNP?
NSC?
Actually.
Norfolk Southern yeah. Okay. So
yeah, Norfolk.
Yeah. Okay. So they did have earnings. Didn't really have this one on watch, to be honest. But sideways action. Was not really following it. There was another M&A that I was looking for earlier. I think it was a GTLS or something like that. That was announced this morning, and that one's been doing pretty well. But yeah, I think guys. So eSignal traders, listen up. First month free. That's right, we're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize.
Bang.
Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading. Lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting. Reliable, real-time data, global markets right at your fingertips, Sharif.
Bang.
All in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Yes. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description, guys.
I know I'm not taking any trades unless they're on the tips of my fingers. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. I'm telling you, once you get those hotkeys set up, bro.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, don't get me started about that, Ob. Go into a dissertation on that. Let's talk about Spotify. Sliding, even though, they had good sub growth and a decent growth forecast. Where's Spot at right now? Down 10.7%. So another one that's SSR. They added 8 million premium subscribers in Q2, topping the analyst forecast of about 5 million. So a 3 million sub beat there. That's not a bad look, guys. They also ended the quarter with 276 million premium subs and about 696 million monthly active users, well above that 689 million consensus estimate. So good look there. They did, though, report some losses. So let's talk about it. So the actual report, they lost about 48 euro pennies. I need to know what this is called. I joked about it with Brendo today, but we're going to find out. What are euro pennies called? All right, I know it sounds so stupid. Euro pennies are officially called euro cents. Okay, good, thanks. All right, so there we go.
Oh, baby.
What's up?
Something might be happening because the market's dumping pretty aggressively, and so is AMD. So, oh boy.
AMD.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's
Something's going on. Something's going on in these here markets, and I don't know, but guess what? Price action speaks first.
You're printing there
well,
on AMD.
I don't know about printing is subjective, but yeah, we'll see how far this kind of falls off. It came right into VWAP right here. I was going to talk about Spotify right after you were done, but it comes in right into VWAP and catching a little bit of a bounce. And here we go. What's up, Adara?
This might be part of what's pushing this market at the downside. Currently, I'm listening to Trump speaking right now on Air Force One, but we also still have that press conference happening with Scott Bessent and Jameson Greer. It looks like this headline is coming from that press conference. Apparently, Scott Bessent is told Chinese officials that given the U.S. Secretary tariff legislation on sanctioned Russia oil, China could face high tariffs if it continues to purchase it. So basically, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, on behalf of the U.S. delegation here for tariffs, saying that if China continues to purchase sanctioned Russian oil, they could face higher tariffs. Trump also saying that in about 10 days, they're going to put tariffs and secondary sanctions on Russian oil. So a couple different comments on Russian oil from, again, two very different events at the same time. Back to you.
Yeah, Belinda, it looks really good. I don't know anything about it, CRDO, but it looks really good. The chart looks fantastic, Belinda. It looks clearly like a breakout there. Shout out to you. All right, let's keep focus over here. Let's get into the report. So they lost about 48 euro pennies per share on revenue of 4.75 billion euros, which missed analyst targets of 2 euros and 29 euro pennies per share on revenue of 5 billion. So a miss on the top and the bottom line. So what's the deal? Q2 profitability impacted by elevated operating expenses as well as social charges, which they categorized or characterized as a payroll-related tax. Don't have more information on that. I do apologize. In contrast, the year-ago quarter saw a profit of 1.5 euros, just a little bit less than 1.5 euros on 4.13 billion euro revenue. And they also lowered their guidance. They guided Q3 revenue of 4.86 billion euros, short of that 5.25 that the street was looking for. So that's a marked miss right there. And that probably justifies it being down this much. Expects to also add about 5 million more premium subs, up to about 281 million subs, and to grow its monthly active users about to 710 million by September. So, a bit of a mixed report there, not a good look in terms of the current quarter as well as the guide. But with respect to them adding subs, which probably leads to top line growth, not a bad look. And look at STAI go, guys. Big breakout here, continuing into that $140. That's where we expect resistance between $140 to $145, and then we have to deal with that $145 to $150. It's really going to be that break of $154 that sets up a clear here for us to kind of squeeze a little bit higher, but STI up 103% on the day. Any comment here on Spotify?
Yeah, Spotify, another one with the strong earnings reaction in the pre-market session here, and then off of the open, we get that continuation. So this one, a bit of a miss on my part. I kind of was deterred by it just due to the price and a little bit of the spread. But regardless, the price action is definitely still there. You can see selling strong off of the earnings report. It does the reversion and gives you over a 50% reversion of the leg down. And then once again, reclaims below. Sellers kind of show they're in charge right off of the open. So if you miss this, guess what, Sharif? You got a second chance and a third chance right on the anchored. And that anchored is probably very much in line with current day VWAP as well right here. So you can see VWAP, I think, is a very, very strong tool, whether it's anchored VWAP or intraday VWAP. Not necessarily for execution, but definitely for direction. And that continuation coming in off of the average participant on the day-to-day on Spotify. So that's the look I have. Pretty solid opportunities on this one. but I was listening to it. I guess I wasn't really listening to it, but hopefully it was music to someone's ears.
All right, Shane, thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. Everyone does a great job on the show. Much respect. When you get a moment, can I have your opinions on app, short-term and long-term? Say less, my man. Let's have a look here at your app 11. All right, so we'll start with the daily. So we're in a bit of a range here. We have outlying breakouts and breakdowns, but for the most part, it's essentially a 325, let's say 300 to 325 as of late. Area support with the higher end being 400 to 425. Obviously, you have outlying areas over here during Liberation Day spike and in the pop subsequent to the days of Donald Trump's inauguration. But for the most part, kind of consolidative at this level. Again, with spikes up and down below that range. Let's look at the 15-minute, see what it's been up to lately. Yeah, obviously a sell-off today, down 1.8%, but are we continuing to put in higher highs and higher lows? Let's go to the half an hour, see what the general trend has been. Yeah, I mean, basically from end of June onwards, as far as this half an hour chart will go, we're certainly putting in higher lows with a bit of an upward channel there. So not a bad look for App Lovin'. Don't know too much about the company other than, you know, that they just make apps. But yeah, any comment there, Ob, about APP?
Yeah, I think we did get a super chat earlier.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Shane. So App Lovin', strong trend on the day. Didn't really have it on radar, but you can see that sellers definitely very dominant. Was it doing any sort of relative volume? Yes, it was. It was doing some decent relative volume here off of the open, but since then volume's been dwindling down. Like I said, didn't really have an eye on this one off of the open. Seems like we might be doing a little bit of a reversion off of some of these highs as of right now, but didn't really quite get to view up just yet. So App Lovin', I don't know if I was really loving it off the open.
I knew as I was coming there. All right, let's talk a little Boeing reporting earnings this morning. Guys, where's Boeing at right now? Let's find out. Where's BA? Show yourself, BA. 3.85 in negatory territory. Okay, here's what happened. Q2 revenue, $22.75 billion, beating the 21 4/5 expected by the street. So a top line beat there, 35% increase year over year on that top line number as well. Adjusted loss per share, not earnings, $1.24, but that was better than the street was expecting. They were looking for worse, a $1.48 loss per share. So a beat on the top and bottom line, but the net loss also narrowed. They lost about $1.1 billion on the quarter last year at this time. They've narrowed it down to a loss of $176 million, so certain improvement there for Boeing. Let's talk about deliveries. They delivered 150 airplanes in Q2, the highest second quarter total since 2018. So notable improvement there for Boeing. Operational execution has improved across commercial, defense, and the services segment. So they've done well in all three, but there does remain headwinds. Specifically here, it's the certification of the 737 MAX 7 and MAX 10 that's delayed yet again, no longer expected in 2025 as they had previously guided. These delays could affect, obviously, the delivery cadence and the customer timelines going into next year, 2026. Let's talk about their defense unit, because defense is all the rave right now with everybody rearming. Their defense segment continues to be pressured, sadly, by cost charges and operational setbacks. You feel like this is their time to shine here in defense. They can't be making these blunders. They go on to say a potential factory worker strike as well looms in the background after employees rejected a proposed labor deal. Shout out to Mike Lowry, $1.99 super chat. APPL stock looks like it wants info at 211.80. I think you're talking about Apple. We'll look at that when we get back from Adara, Mike Lowry.
Just keep an eye here on the market, specifically oil. Here's XOM. A lot of these U.S. oil names, including USO, are really strong here. We do have Donald Trump, again, still doing this press gaggle on the Air Force One. He was asked, are you worried about what happens to the oil market if you do place sanctions in Russia? He said, I'm not worried. U.S. oil is doing pretty well. We'll just make more. We'll just continue. He did say it's pretty low, but I guess that he's not worried it'll work out. XOM responding really positively here. USO also responded very well to that initially. So keep an eye on some of these oil names as Donald Trump continues to discuss these potential Russian sanctions. He's not concerned about how these might impact oil, specifically in the oil market. Back to you.
All right, you want to look at Apple for our friend Mike? It says Lowry, but I want to call him Lowry. Just because Mike Lowry.
Yeah.
Everybody, I wanna be like Mike.
Oh boy, what was that? Excuse me. This quadunk here, was that flush that we got a little bit earlier on Apple? That was an aggressive push to the downside and maybe a little capitulatory.
Oh,
Because the largest volume
You're gonna have to do this
on the day.
bro. You don't just get to say capitulatory without the word of the day, bro.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, dude, like that's aggressive selling, pinging to the downside, 210.82s, and yeah, a bit of a reversion happening there. Didn't really quite get the view up because since the open, again, another stock that is showing us who's in charge off of the open. Now, this is what I mean about price action. We saw, what was it? We saw App, we saw some other stocks, we saw Spotify as well,
sir.
holding that VWAP pretty well over the day. What's going on, Sean? E-signal? No, I'm not. Oh, actually, what is it?
You are. That is e-signal.
Is this e-signal? Logged out?
You need it, Katina? Okay. All right.
It's,
I thought Joe had his own. Oh,
I thought Joe had his own.
Yeah, okay.
oh, I see
For some reason it's
what
logged
you...
in over there.
Oh, boy, yeah, I gotta...
No, it's okay. No problem. I couldn't get data over.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, yeah, no worries.
Get it, Katina, man.
Let me see how I can potentially log out of this one.
All right, let's go on here while you do that.
But Apple holding that VWAP is what
Okay.
I was trying to say, right?
Gotcha.
It's very clear price action, but I had no idea what that quadunk was.
That was the acquisition of their AI, the poaching by Meta.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Procter & Gamble here. Last one on the list, P&G. Full year 2026 core EPS growth of 0 to 4%, or about 683 to 709 a share versus the consensus 699. So not sure what the exact midpoint there is, but it doesn't say one way or another. Company sees net sales growth of around 1 to 5%, which is a little bit below the analyst midpoint of 3.1. The outlook reflects a cautious consumer spending and about $1 billion, they say, in added tariff-related costs. So there you're finally starting to see some of these earnings reports starting to cite tariffs. We saw it with UPS and the removal of the de minimis rule, and now we're seeing it with P&G. And more on this in a second. I'll show you what I mean. The CEO transition, though, has created some uncertainty. So insider Shaliashe Jej Urikar, sorry, guys, named new CEO, basically replacing John Moeller. He steps in during heightened tariff and consumer cost concerns. Now, speaking about those consumer costs, P&G says they're going to raise prices mid-single digits on about 25% of their U.S. product portfolio starting this month. So the tariffs, you're going to start seeing them at least on P&G's products, which are quite numerous. The hikes have been communicated to major retailers. We're talking about the Walmarts, the Targets, as the company tries to offset Trump's new tariffs. Let's talk about how they beat on earnings for Q4. This is their Q4. I know where most people are in Q2. Everybody's fiscal year is a little different. Q4 EPS came in at $1.48, topping the estimates of $1.42 on revenue of $20.89 billion. That was a 1.7% year-over-year bump, but it also beat the 20.82 expected, so a beat on the top and bottom line for the current quarter. They are restructuring to get more productivity. They say they're exiting some brands and cutting, sadly, about 7,000 jobs over 2 years as a part of the broader restructuring and a move into efficiency, sites management. But the consumer trends here, they say, are still weak. They say lower income households are really stretching their budgets, causing a little softness in the demand for some of their products. This echoes kind of a broader industry commentary we've been hearing from names like Nestle that reported not that long ago, which also kind of flagged tepid North American consumer behavior. So that is something we need to be, concerned about and also monitoring, because you know how these things can be a bit of a leading indicator. So some caution here, guys, from P&G about the state of the consumer as well as the nature of tariffs. So that is the news for today. Any comment about that one?
Yeah, P&G, another earnings name today, right? This was very deterring to me because you can see, Sharif, in the pre-market action, bupkis. Ooh. Absolutely nothing. Trading within range of prior weeks, not really doing too much, selling off aggressively, and since then we've just been trading sideways on P&G, Procter and Gamble. So if you took a gamble on this one off of the open, I don't know where you're really sitting at. Maybe there's a bit of a reversion that did happen from those opening range lows. So if you were maybe a bit of a tape scalp there, it gave you the reversion to VWAP. It gave you a 50% reversion of the opening candle flush there. And since then, sellers stepping right back in off of 158s and maybe poised to push some of these day lows again at 154.83. So yeah, let me know what earnings names did you guys trade today? I've only been really dabbling with AMD. A bit of a miss on my part with the long because it did pretty much the same thing as yesterday. And yeah, I'll be honest, I might be over trading it a little bit here, just looking for opportunities to potentially take on the day. So let's go through some of my morning trade plan here. Now, this morning trade plan was pretty relatively rough, and you guys know I like to do this sometimes. So let's just take a quick run through of what my plan was in the morning, what my top stocks were, and what I actually ended up trading. So this was definitely a miss on my part because I didn't even take the top idea that I had, or one of the top ideas on the list that I had wasn't part of my top 3 stocks though, but later on I realized that it was probably doing a little bit more of the same. So this is my morning trade plan right here. So you can see that, oh boy, right here, coming in. Okay, so top 3 stocks. I wonder if I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, here we go. So you guys can see it a little bit better if I make this, zoom this in a little bit. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Top 3 tickers, NVO. We saw what that did. NVO did absolutely nothing off of the open. Didn't really do what I was looking for. I was like, okay, you know what? Look for continuation below pre-market structures. Guess what? Never got below any of these pre-market structures, so it didn't really have a trade on there. Another stock, again, NVIDIA pushing all-time highs. I was like, gap up continuation. If the pre-market high holds, VWAP confluence, look for the market tailwind, look to take inventory through 180 if structure holds in an uptrend. And then I guess suffix that with SMCI strong bid and then look for the tailwind there as well. But guess what, Sharif? It never really broke pre-market highs and never really gave us a chance to push into that 180. That trade was definitely not there. But guess what? AMD, I was like, continuation. Look for structure to hold higher before getting involved. 174 is the prior high, and the sector is gapping up as well. So strong confluence for that one. And then I was also like, look for NVIDIA and SMH tailwind to give confluence. Pre-market high, see if that holds. Prior day VWAP is at 173 on AMD. So let's see what it did. 173 never really came in. Continuation off of pre-market highs. Oh boy, it did the same thing that we were doing yesterday. So rip right off of the open through the pre-market high, aggressive bids coming in. And look at that, aggressive bids coming in as of right now as well, breaking some of these local highs. But yeah, that long was definitely a big miss. And I tried to revert that move a little too aggressively, and it finally did come in. But getting involved on the front side is something I got to do a little bit better with. But the continuation, the trade idea that I did have, I definitely missed out on it. And one of my, I guess, sometimes it's a strength, sometimes it's a weakness. I'm just like, all right, well, I missed this trade. What's the next trade? If it starts to get overextended, I do want to start to get a little bit of a fade going on. And the fade did, I guess it gave you both sides. We almost did a full-on reversion all the way to the opening prices, but we got down to 176s and held some of these pre-market levels for another bounce back up on AMD.
Oh, I got to interrupt.
What's going on?
PTHL it looks like it's going to 0 here, guys. It's down to 88.86%. It's halted again. You'll recall Neil alerted me to this when it was halted at around 27, 28 bucks. The tap At the time, the theoretical auction price we gave you was $3. It is now halted at $3.45, and the tap is giving me $1.69. This is losing it very, very quickly. PTHL is the ticker, guys. This company is called Phaeton Holdings. They are a holding company principally engaged in the provision of healthcare solutions through subsidiaries. It looks like it is a Chinese company, Beijing Fei Chen. The company's main business include development and commercialization of brachytherapy treatment planning systems specifically used for radioactive particle implantation. Ooh. Okay, yeah, that's your world there, oh. But yeah, this is a very, very, very bad move down, guys. We are halted. The halt time there, 1:52.27. That was the last print that came in. You add 5 minutes, increments of 5 minutes onto that. But this, let's see if it's halted due to volatility or pending news. It says volatility on mine. But yeah, this is a very, very bad look right now, PTHL. And I got to tell you, Neil, do you have news? The Bear Cave. Yes, the Bear Cave. Here it is. So it's a hit piece, guys. Coming from the Bear Cave. Problems at Phaeton Holdings, PTHL. This is being released by the Bear Cave. You can weasel on over and read that if you like. I'm not going to read it on the show with only a few minutes left, but this is a very, very aggressive move here. PTHL, the ticker. Let me also tell you about this, guys. I want to remind you, otherwise Assassino will get very upset. Vote, please. Get into that chat right now. Throw in that $sign followed by 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker. AMD, the king right now, taking about 79 votes. SoFi, second only to AMD with 41. Tesla, third right now with 39. NVIDIA not far behind with 34. Get into that chat. Vote for your favorite ticker. Make sure you're bullying your friends to vote your way, because only the top 5 tickers make it on. We gotta put a limit on that bad boy there. So make sure you're voting, guys. You only have a few minutes left before we cut off the votes. So get into that chat right now and vote. Yes. So PTHL, oh baby. So what time would we open? So it's going to be more than a 5-minute halt, obviously, as it was prior to that. We halted at 13:52.27. It is currently, I'll give you the exact time, 13:59.58. 2 shows over. No, I'm playing. So seriously, though, guys, keep your eye out on this one. The tap now showing about $2. Not like I'd be interested in trading this anyway, because it's insane, it's volatile, and I don't even know what the spread is. All right, Ob, we're going to send it off to the big show now. Leave them with a thought.
Yeah, guys, we've had a lot of good discussions during the midday, and I just want to go back to where did that poll go? There was almost 2,000 people that voted.
Right here.
You got the poll?
Oh, that's not it.
That's not it. I don't know where that poll went, but thank you for voting. And I think what it had come down to was about almost 48% people using both technicals and fundamentals, and then 41% using just technicals, and then roughly around around that 10% using only fundamentals. So interesting stuff. Thank you for voting. Thank you for participating. But yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for filling in, man. Yeah, it's been nice to hang out with you a little bit. It's been a minute since you and I got to show. You're usually filling in for me, right? So I do appreciate that. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
And regularly scheduled programming tomorrow with your boy Joey Options. Going to come back all cottaged out in Cannes. We'll have to see some stories there. So make sure you're catching the midday with us tomorrow. Big boys are that way.
See ya.